that light's kind of
I don't care. All right, well, we're back here. It's another edition of the Gator Student Broadcast Network. I'm alongside Gabe Sosa again. Normally we're live on the actual station, but COVID, like last time, has disrupted how we can broadcast the game. I brought a lamp this time, and we got a little more light, so it should be a little bit better, but we're actually going to go live for the real time. So, Gabe, whenever you're ready, we'll get it.
Just tell me when to record, and then you can tune.
This light's pretty blinding. Sorry to anyone watching. All right. Give me the countdown when you're ready.
Yeah. Hold these down so I can hold the record button. 3, 2, 1, recording.
Well, the Thanksgiving week has ended, and normally you'll get the Gators playing their in-state rivals versus the Seminoles, but today that matchup looks a little bit different as the Florida Gators welcome in the Kentucky Wildcats to Ben Hill Griffin Stadium. The Gators have only lost once this season. The Wildcats 3-5. Mark Stoops' squad coming off a massive loss to Alabama last week. Could things be different again today? There's lots to discuss for the game. And I'm Zach Cohen alongside Gabe Sosa for the Gator Student Broadcast Network on this simulcast strange edition of the Gators football game here on November 28th, 2020. We are not at Ben Hill Griffin Stadium as we normally would be. We're in the basement of Weimer Hall broadcasting this game today. And right off the bat, the Gators are coming in after what some assumed to be a big win against Vanderbilt, but instead it didn't. It wasn't the 60-point burger that a lot of people thought would happen. And some people think that's how it could end today. What do we expect from the Gators today, Gabe?
Well, the biggest thing is Kyle Pitts. That big man, Kyle Pitts, he's really been a huge part of this Gator offense this entire season. And him being back after that concussion against Georgia, it's going to be a massive, massive part to this Gators offense. And Kentucky, they've been struggling a lot defensively on the passing game. So to see that many options for Kyle Trask, the Heisman candidate, it's going to be very tough for this Kentucky defense.
Yeah, no, Florida has done really well to spread the ball this season. They're the only FBS team with 5 players who have at least 3 touchdowns this season, and they're one of 5 FBS teams with 10 different players with a touchdown catch. I bet you can't name the other 4 FBS teams.
I definitely can't, Zach.
Nope, considering it's Arkansas State, Liberty, Marshall, and Texas. But enough about those teams. Let's keep talking about the Florida Gators. The offense has been otherworldly this season. They're second in the SEC in points per game. They're third in yards per game. But the defense, it hasn't been living up to the Gators standards that we've seen in previous years. What can we expect from the defensive side of the ball today?
Well, this defensive side, they just got to be better on the passing game. They've struggled a lot with deep balls. I remember against Arkansas, they struggled a lot, giving a lot of deep passes. They got to be able to cover a lot better than they've been able to, make tackles and, do the best they can to win this game.
Definitely, and that's what every coach has to be saying ahead of a game like this, because you can never count out the other team, especially when they're only 3-5. Like we said earlier, the Wildcats lost to Alabama pretty big last week. And then now today, here they come into the Gators. They've lost the last 32 of 33 games against Florida. But the last time they played here in the Swamp, the Wildcats got the best of the Gators, which has been pretty rare. What are the chances that we get another upset in Gainesville today, Gabe?
Well, the biggest thing, they got to be able to give the ball to Josh Ali. He's been killing it for this offense as wide receiver. Give the ball to Kavasier, Smoke. Those guys have been doing a lot recently, and you got to be able to just make a high-scoring game because the Gators are going to score, and you guys got to score as much as they can to win this game.
Mm-hmm. It's a really run-heavy team that Mark Stoops runs there over in Lexington. And as for the defensive side of the ball, again, not living up to the way that the team would hope for. They're actually pretty average when it comes to defensive points per game allowed. But for the most part, this is a team that especially recently has been ravaged by COVID-19. Last week, they had at least 10 players out. And on Tuesday, Coach Stoops told the media that Kentucky has at least 18 players out for COVID today and at least 10 staffers. Last week, that included the leading tackler for the team, Jamin Davis. Today, he's expected to be active. So is there any way that the Kentucky defense can stop this high-flying Florida offense?
It's going to be really tough. They have Kadarius Toney, Trevon Grimes, Kyle Pitts, Jacob Copeland. All these guys, they could get double covered. So it's going to be really tough for them to be able to just make stops. It's going to be hard for 3-and-outs to happen. So we'll see what happens tonight.
Yeah, definitely. And as we get ready for the opening kickoff again, Zach Cohen alongside Gabe Sosa, we'll be right back for a quick commercial break on the Gators Student Broadcast Network. All right, so nice. Now a little commercial. You'll see it. If only we could have done audio, but I guess this helps a little bit more because you can actually see me in this nice jacket here.
Looks a lot more packed than you.
Yeah, I noticed that. Oh, Mark Jones is here? He went to, his daughters went to my high school.
Really?
Yeah, I talked to him one time. He's like, send me your stuff on an email, and never got back. All right. Send it back in like 20 seconds.
All right. Tell me one.
Mm-hmm. I'll start with.
If I want to hear you better, how do I do that again? Is it these?
Take off this.
I guess.
Yeah. All right. Ready? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. As the Wildcats and the Gators take the field at Ben Hill Griffin Stadium, Kentucky is out 16 players, 3 of them being starters. Of course, all information is undisclosed. As the Gators donning their blue tops, their white pants, and their classic orange helmets, kicking off to the Wildcats, who wearing all white with their blue helmets. And here comes Evan McPherson for the kickoff, and we are underway at Ben Hill Griffin Stadium. 60 minutes of action in the SEC. We got all SEC play this season as the Wildcat offense marches onto the field one more time, manned by Terry Wilson. We saw a lot of Wilson last year. He's quite the dual threat quarterback.
He really is a dual threat quarterback. I remember he just made it really tough for Florida last time. He was just being able to run the ball and also made really nice passes 2 years ago. And it's going to be really tough for the Gators to contain him tonight.
And already Wilson is in the shotgun. Sends a man in motion. Wilson hands it off underneath. It's about a 4-3-2 1-yard carry as the man gets bounced back. That's number 10, Asim Rose Jr. He's already got 1 score in the season, but in that time he picks up 1 yard. A nice swarm by the Gators defensive line.
The Gators has really struggled so far with that, just making big tackles. And early in the game, it's a good start off for them.
Wilson calling out plays again, 2nd and 9. Since Rose along his right side, they got double receivers up top. Rose takes a couple steps to the left of Wilson. He's 1 step behind him on the left. Wilson hands off again inside to Rose, who finds a hole, bounces across the first down, and then some, stumbles, but picks up his balance and gets tackled 2 yards to the left of the Gator eye. A solid 15-yard pickup by the senior running back.
Very well done by Rose right there, just being able to break a few tackles, a little spin moon on Sean Davis, and was able to get the first down.
Donovan Steiner, the man to bring him down finally after he bounced off a couple pair of Gators. 1st and 10, a minute left in the minute into the quarter as Wilson fakes the handoff inside, bounces outside to the near far sideline and gets pushed out around the 50-yard line for a gain of about 5 to bring up 2nd down. It was Marco Wilson on the push-off.
And that's just something so big about Terry Wilson, being able to run and just getting those extra yards in when sometimes, with running backs, you're not going to be able to do that.
Some more motion along the line. Clevin Thomas Jr. gets set. There's Wilson, got some time in the pocket, finds man over the middle, and is sprinting along to the 40 and gets tackled down as number 6, Josh Ali, the big man in the Kentucky offense. This team doesn't pass too much, but when they do, it's normally to Ali. He leads the team in receptions with 38.
His route running is just superb, Zach. It's just so good to see, and making simple routes just makes it easier for the quarterback to find them.
And once again, brought down by Marco Wilson, the younger brother of Quincy Wilson, who spent some time in the NFL. He was a second-round draft pick a couple years ago as his brother on the far sideline opposite Ali, with Wilson once again in the shotgun rows, 2 yards to the right and the back. Wilson calls for motion to Asim instead, hands it off, and it bounces outside as number 20, Cavassier Smoke picks up about 3 on that to bring out second down, approaching 12:30 left in the first quarter.
He actually got tackled by his own man for a second, went into his own guy, actually Alan Daly, and just made it easier for the Gators defense to get onto him.
Smoke, the sophomore running back. You'll see lots of different players get the ball today. They already have 3 players who are over 100 yards rushing on the season. It's a very run-heavy team, as Wilson, the lone man in the backfield, but not until it sends a man in motion, including Smoke. Wilson marches back up to the line of scrimmage, barks out orders. He's got Smoke diagonal to the left of him yet again. Motions inside. That's Ali, who comes inside to Wilson. Wilson instead hands it off to Smoke, who puts one defender in a spin move. He gets brought down for about 4 yards. He put Ventrell Miller into the ground, but it was not enough for the first down.
This running game is just so good for Kentucky, and it's so hard to figure out where they're going to go, and they just make it difficult for this defense.
And already 3rd and 3. It's been 6 plays on this drive. 5 of them have been rush. 1 has been pass, as we've suspected. Like we've said, this is the Wildcats team that loves to run the ball. As Wilson has Smoke right behind him. He's got 3 receivers on the far side. Ali is one of them. Instead, Wilson hands off underneath the Smoke, who gets wrapped down for a loss of about an inch. But either way, that'll bring up 4th down. A fantastic play by Mahmoud Diabate, the sophomore linebacker, to give Mark Stoops a decision here with 11 minutes left in the first quarter.
Very well done by Diabate, just making a massive play there when they really needed it after a few first downs right away.
And the Wildcats opting to go for it, 3 yards to move the chains. They are 33% on the season and converting on 4th downs, 112th best in the FBS. Not a great margin at all, as Wilson once again in the shotgun with Smoke on his right. Wilson looks to pass, looks to the left side, and he's got a man wide open and then some, as Wilson comes in to sweep under the legs of Keaton Upshaw. But it is enough for the Wildcat first down.
You just don't see anyone covering him right there, and that's just an easy yardage for the first down. Big play for Kentucky.
And Wilson diving inside to send Upshaw sailing through the air, but it was enough to pick up about 7 or 8. You'll see a lot more of Upshaw as Justin Riggs continues to battle COVID-19. He was out last game, and instead Upshaw is filling his spot again today as Terry Wilson gets brought down immediately. What a play along the right side, and who else could it be but Brenton Cox, the transfer from Georgia.
He's really been so big for this Gators defense ever since his transfer, and you just see him getting better every game. It's really unbelievable and great to see for the Gators defense.
And that's Cox's 4th sack, the team high of the season. He went unblocked along the right side. It looked like the right tackle, the whole right side for Kentucky was just completely unprepared for that, as it brings up 2nd and 20, 9.5 left. Wilson in the I formation, Smoke behind him, 2 yards back. And Wilson fakes the play. He's got Cox in his face again as Wilson stands in the pocket and way over the head of the intended running back. And that was Rose along the left sideline to bring up 3rd and 20.
Brenton Cox just makes it so difficult for every offense. He was there in about a second and just made it so hard to make a better pass there.
And this is a linebacker that can really stand up, blitz from the edge like that, do with the hand is dirty. He can do a lot of different things, but he plays a lot bigger than he actually is. He's only 6'3", 250, but Todd Grantham isn't afraid to line him up on the line of scrimmage and push him right into the tackle as the Kentucky faces a 3rd and 20 with Wilson. Asim Rose to the left, and Wilson gets brought down immediately. A swarm of blue, white, and orange as Zach Carter was there with some help from Diabate to give the Wildcats their second 4th down of the game, and something tells me they won't go for this one.
Yeah, you haven't really seen a lot from this Gators defense with these sacks, and just this offensive line has been struggling so far to keep that defense away.
Fantastic play by Carter and Diabate to shake free of their blockers to bring down Wilson all the way back to the teeth of the Gator.
It's truly unbelievable. They started around the 25-yard line in that drop. Well, that sequence of plays, and they go straight back to the 40-yard line there.
Seeing his first action for the punt team in Kentucky is Max Duffy, who waits a couple seconds before he gives a nice little pooch punt back to Kadarius Toney, who decides, you know what, I can moss a quick defender, and still somehow on his feet before getting brought down to about to pass the 25. A little bit of an awkward punt there by the punter who missed last week's game against Bama with COVID-19.
I've never really seen that from any punter. He just stalled for about 5 seconds to give his players more chance to get to the football, and it kind of helped out in a way.
And onto the field, the Florida Gators high-flying offense. We'll see how they start the game off as we come back here on the Gator Student Broadcast Network. Great. A quick thing. Normally we have commercials, but that's not the case.
This year is different.
Normally we have, I cannot type for my life. Normally we have equipment for commercials, but that is not the case for COVID. Is not the case due to COVID. Jesus. You know, the laptop's so far in front of me. Hey, everyone, to all 3 people watching. You know, last time it said we had a total of 61 different people. So, excuse some... Dude, why can't you just autocorrect? What'd you think of that so far? I think it sounded good.
Yeah, sounded good. I mean, I'm surprised by the defense so far. They started off kind of poorly, and then that last set of downs.
James Davis.
Very good.
Good so far. Feel free to you can sponsor a food.
Buddy, hello.
Chick-fil-A commercial? Yep,
Yep.
all the time. They play the same commercials every single game.
I haven't seen this one
You
yet.
just watch too much sports. I don't know.
Her name's Gabriel. Interesting.
When did Florida State game get postponed? Is that new?
Yeah.
When did that
Happened
happen?
Today.
Oh,
The same thing that happened with Clemson.
well, at least Seminoles can't lose again. Good for them, I guess.
It's nice to see them
Hope
lose a
they're all
game, though.
okay. Yeah.
The NBA is back in less than a month.
Hmm?
The NBA is back in less than a month.
Yeah, I saw that. I can't wait. All right. Let's bring it back in like 15. There you go. All right, 5, 4, 3, 2. Back on the Gator Student Broadcast Network in Gainesville, Florida, where the score is still 0-0. And just like that, the Gators already on the field. And Pierce gets a handoff to the left side, bounces inside for about 3 yards. It was Damian Pierce, the handoff from Kyle Trask. And man, what a story he's had to get here. We all know the whole thing by now. The last time these two teams faced was in Lexington when Felipe Franks got hurt. It was a pretty bad sight. And then Kyle Trask coming in to start to play in his first game since high school part, and as already the feed cuts to the Gators as Trask deep back in the pocket. He's got some space to room with a high arcing throw towards the sideline way in front of Kyle Pitts. A nice face to see for the Gators offense here.
That's definitely one of the biggest guys that they have on this offense, and he's been that Kyle and Kyle connection has been so big for them, and it's going to be really important for Kentucky to contain him.
And already the Gators facing a 3rd down and 7, just 8 seconds past the 8-minute mark in the first quarter. Trask, the lone man in the backfield. He got 5 lined up in front of him. Kentucky only showing 3 blitzers, and that's what they send. As Trask backs it in the pocket with a defender in his face, dips it off to Tony, but it's not enough for the first down, about 2-3 yards short of the yellow line.
That's a really good start for this Kentucky defense. They usually struggle, with pass defense, but they were able to start out today just not allowing a first down.
And just like that, Coach Dan Mullen with a decision to make. As Trask didn't have anyone open other than Tony across the middle, and that's what happens when you got a team like Kentucky who blitzed only 3 players on that side, and they will opt a punt, and that's Jacob Finn, the redshirt senior. He's averaging over 44 yards per punt, but it's a fake that Damian Pierce, who sprints along the left side and past the 40 for a gutsy call on first down. And Nick Savage, the strength and conditioning coach on the sideline, is loving it, and how can you not?
That's really something that Dan Mullen loves to do. Last year, you saw Tommy Townsend not being scared to run the football for punting, and he's even done it for the Chiefs this year. He actually was able to throw the ball on a fake punt against the Jets, and it's really something that you're not scared, that Dan Mullen's not scared to see.
It was a 15-yard rush to Damian Pierce as Malik Davis replaces him, and instead that's who Trask hands off to. Gets brought down for about 3 as he split the center and left guard to bring up the second down. But we're kind of accustomed to seeing Dan Mullen take those risky type of plays. That's part of the reason why they're the 6th-ranked team in the country. They're not afraid to go big or go home. And with only 2 yards to go to 4th down, that's exactly what Dan Mullen decided to do. As Trask in the shotgun again with Davis on his left. He's got Pitts with his hands in the dirt on the left side. Trask looks to his right, looks over the middle again, and finds Pitts, who's got some space between him and the end zone. It's a foot race to the left side, and there it is. Welcome back, Kyle Pitts, for his first touchdown of the game and his 82nd career reception as a Gator, tying the 2nd most in Florida history.
Are you really surprised to see Kyle to Kyle right there? Just a beautiful pass from Kyle Trask and just a foot race for Kyle Pitts to get the touchdown.
And that's why so many of Kyle Pitts ranked as a high first-round prospect in the 2021 NFL Draft. The junior showing off his skills in all facets of the game right there to create some space and give him a record touchdown for tight ends in UF history, and that will be his 9th touchdown of the season. One more away from the 10th one as McPherson splits the upright as he normally does to give the Gators an early 7-0 lead with 6 minutes left in the first quarter. Already lots of action here on the Gators offensive side of the ball, as we'll be back after this quick commercial break. You're listening or watching to the Gators Student Broadcast Network. That was fun.
Good call.
I could have been better. Thanks, though. You did good, too.
This all comes from one thing, and that was that fake punt. So
yeah, a fake punt is huge. We can talk about that when you come back too.
Yeah,
sounds good. Hello, all 5 people watching. Shoot.
Hey, 5 people. That's a W.
Dang. The lighting just isn't that great.
My friend Nick, he texted me. He's like, "Imagine not expecting a fake punt there."
Not surprised. How many people we got in the live? 4. Nice. Mom, Dad, how you guys doing? Hey, I didn't know there was a mute option. That's interesting. I might use that a little bit.
For breaks, I'm assuming.
Yeah. All right, here's some stats, too. This is weird. This isn't like the normal stat thing.
I'm pretty sure that's the wrong one.
3, 2. Back following that classic Kyle to Kyle connection to give the Gators a 7-0 lead with about 6 minutes left in the first quarter. And are you really surprised by Kyle Trask finding Kyle Pitts that early?
Absolutely not. But the thing that this all came from was that fake punt. Dan Mullen not being afraid to take risks. And with that, they were able to get an easy touchdown to start off this game with the lead.
Definitely. Trask is just 3 passing touchdowns away from tying Tim Tebow for the 4th most all time in a single season for the Gators, as McPherson's kick is sent way back to the end zone for a touchback. And kind of revisiting that Pitts to Trask touchdown, Pitts was the only one lined up on the left side. He had his hand in the dirt right away.
Yeah, it was. And, he was able to make a little slant and go forward a little bit and make a little slant route and found a lot of space there. And the entire left side of the field was open. He was just able to have that foot race and score the touchdown.
It's one of the reasons why he's the most targeted player on the team, or at least per game. Kadarius Toney leads the team in receptions, but Pitts missed a couple games due to a concussion. As Kentucky takes their turn on offense, still wearing their all-white, as Wilson hands off to Rose, who bounces out to the left side a couple yards short of the marker, gets brought down by Cox.
Yeah, nothing really much there from this Gators defense. About 9 yards scored for, 9 yards made for Kentucky, and good start for this drive.
Mm-hmm. And already you see a team with Kentucky. The biggest defeat in these teams have been playing since 1917. As the Wildcats get ready for offense, just remember that the biggest defeat between these two teams was when UF beat Kentucky 73-7 in 1996. As we all know, the Gators went on to win the championship that year, as Smoke gets brought down by a swarm of players, including Brad Stewart and James Houston, to bring it down 3rd and 2. Might have been a bit generous with the spot and marking down forward progress there, but either way, it's 3rd down for the Wildcats, their 3rd touchdown of the game.
Yeah, and so far they've been able to convert out of those, except for that last drive where they unfortunately got taken down 20 yards.
Kvasia Smoke already has 15 yards rushing on 5 rushing attempts. Wilson barking orders to the offensive line. You've got Ollie and Bates on the right side. Wilson with Smoke to his right, a couple yards back. Gators showing a blitz, and that's what happens as Wilson hands off to Smoke, who gets brought down by Houston as Smoke extends to the 1st down. But the refs initially give him the 4th down. Looked like he was just short despite Smoke's last-ditch efforts.
I do see that this Kentucky offense will go for it, even though they're a little bit close on their defensive side of the half, but they're about 2 inches away from the 1st down there.
Yeah, it looked like Smoke tried to get his right hand out, but the ball was in his left hand, which he realized that too late, making him just short of the marker, but about by an inch. Honestly, it looks like that Wilson sneaks it up the middle, and that's exactly what happens. It picks up about 2 and change to give the Wildcats a 1st down with 4 minutes and counting left until the 2nd quarter.
Well, you can really see from both of these teams that they're not afraid to go for it on 4th down, really able to make risks, and they've converted so far.
And they've only had 3 pass attempts the entire game. They've ran the other 12 plays on offense, and that's about what we expected. As Wilson gets back up to the line, have Ali joined by DeMarcus Harris up top left. Wilson joined once again by Smoke in the backfield. Smoke to his right, sends Ali in motion, stands next to Wilson, and that's who he fakes the handoff to as Wilson takes it himself, gets brought down for a gain of about 7 along the scales of the Gator head to bring out 2nd down. Already you're seeing lots of motion, lots of different players moving along the line of scrimmage, and that's got to be so important for a team that loves to run the ball as much as Kentucky does. They run the ball more than any other team in the SEC.
Absolutely. They don't really have a lot of options offensively for receivers. They have Josh Ali, but other than that, it's mostly their running game.
2nd and 3 for the blue and whites. Wilson once again in the shotgun. The only play is taken under center tonight was this QB sneak as Wilson fakes a pitch to the left. Stead says, you know what, I'll take it myself, but it gets brought down by James Houston and Tadero Slayton, the 356-pound nose tackle for a gain of just about 1. They still got 1 more to go to move the sticks.
This Kentucky offense really making some sneaky plays so far, and I assume that they're going to have a lot more for the rest of the game.
Wilson back up onto the field. Dan Mullen has already won his first 27 of 33 games as the head coach of the Gators. If he wins one more, it would be the best showing by any Gators coach in program history. But he still has 3 more quarters to get that 28th victory as Wilson once again in the shotgun with Rose right next to him. And he gets handed off to the ball, but it meets a brick wall of blue. Tadero Slayton and Jervon Dexter are there for the Gators, with Brenton Cox helping out a little bit to bring up a 4th down again for the Wildcats.
Jervon Dexter, he's just been helping a lot as a 5-star recruit. And he's really been a big part of this defense so far as a freshman here.
Definitely, and he already has 10 tackles and a sack on the season, including his interception. So that would be another tackle for loss, as Max Duffy, coming on for his 2nd punt of the day, his longest punt of the season, went for 75 yards. Could the Wildcats take a fake here? No. Instead, Wilson sends it near the left pylon to Tony Waves for the fair catch around the 16, and that's what happens with 1:23 left in the first quarter. The Gators offense will take the field again after this quick break. And now I'll mute this. Wow, thanks for 8 people watching. We're going to go live. I usually mute myself during fake commercial breaks. We normally have real commercial breaks, but we don't have that equipment this year. Oh, 7? I'll take it. That's a record. All right, 5, 4. Still 7-0 in favor of the Gators as they take on Kentucky here today on the Gator Student Broadcast Network. Zach Cohen alongside Gabe Sosa. And the Gators have been playing pretty well at BHG. They've won 11 straight home games, marking their longest streak since a 13-game run, which spanned the final 4 home games of 2008, all 6 home games in 2009, and the first 3 games of 2010. So looking to get their 12th straight home victory today against the Wildcats, who they've had quite some success over in the past few years, as the first flag of the game called on a false start on the Gators offense. Number 84, Kyle Pitts, who is already the reason why the Gators have that first touchdown on the board in the first place.
Well, to start off, Kyle Pitts, he's done so well this season, having Kyle Trask there as well. Actually, where the 3 Heisman winners are for this Gators team, they did put an extra one there, a student poster of Kyle Trask, which I find very interesting there.
And there's Trask in the shotgun again with Malik Davis on his left side. Nope, that's Damian Pierce, but Trask fakes the handoff either way. Finds Pierce in the flat, bounces out to the left side, tries to make one defender miss, pushes off another, instead loses about a yard. It was a positive gain for about 2. It was about 4 yards downfield on the near side. Instead got bounced back by Kentucky defenders for a gain of about 2.
Yeah, 2. No, he started off pretty well there. He had about 4 or 5 yards and then just zoomed out of the way. I don't really know.
Well, either way, 2nd and 12 now, thanks to that penalty. So a gain of officially about 3 as Trask, lone man in the backfield, looks to the right, looks to the left, has the defender in his face, finds Pitts along the side, but pushed just left to bring up a 3rd down. Pitts thought he had it. He did catch it along his fingertips, but he did step out of bounds.
Just a bit out of bounds there, and now they're going to a 3 and 12 situation here.
And already we've seen Trask and Pitts both this season connect more times than any quarterback and tight end have had in Gators history, at least in the span of 1 season. And that's considering you've only had 7 games going forward, and Pitts missed 2 games. So a dynamic, record-breaking duo for the Blue and Orange. As Trask in the shotgun looks to the right, but the play is blown dead. Another penalty for the Gators. Pretty uncharacteristic for a team that has finished with fewer than 10 penalties in 27 straight games. And that dates back to the start of 2019, when UF has been charged with 5 or fewer penalties in 13 of their 20 games, including in 7 in the last 9. So a relatively disciplined team, but Mullen on the sideline unhappy about something. As it's still unclear what the call was. The refs going to review the catch, it appears. Again, we're calling this off a big TV screen in the basement of the journalism school, so we don't have the audio for this. But Gabe, what do you make of that? I think, it looks like they're ruling if that was a completed catch or not. And it did appear that Pitts caught that ball. It looked like to get his right foot down. Not sure it would make much of a difference. It would be a gain of about 2 or 3 anyway, but I think that this one could be overturned.
Well, we got to see right here, but he does lose control of it a little bit around the end. But either way, with 2 extra yards, that would help for this Gators offense.
So on his first initial time, it looks like he gets it, but he does seem to bobble it a little bit more, and he was out of bounds. And already they're going to say, we're going to stick with the original ruling. The call was confirmed, an incomplete pass. Still a 3rd and long for Dan Mullen's offense. And with 50 seconds left in the first quarter, ball on the 26, ball in UF 14, sorry. It's given some wrong information there a little bit. But 3rd and 12 for the Gators on the UF 14-yard line. 5 receivers spread out across the field. Trask, lone man in the shotgun. Trask has some time in the pocket, throws a dart over the middle to number 12, Rick Wells. Haven't seen much of him this season, but there he is getting the Gators first down.
Well, Rick Wells, he maybe not have a lot of spots, not a lot of passes to him, but he definitely does get a massive play right there for him.
Only his 11th catch of the season. He hit Wells right over the middle in between the hash marks, getting brought down by Quandre Mosley, the senior defensive back for the Wildcats, to give the Gators a new set of downs. Trask once again in the shotgun with Kyle Pitts out left, hands underneath to Malik Davis. Malik Davis finds a hole, gets brought down around the shirt. No, that's Naquan Wright. That's the right running back. He gets down for a pickup of about 4. Sometimes with these ESPN angles, it's a little tough to see the jersey numbers, but that one is unmistakably Naquan Wright, who's part of that 3-man rotation that the Gators really used this season.
They really have been using all of them so much. They just have so many different choices as for tight end, for wide receiver, for running back. It's just so hard to know what this Gator offense is going to do.
And that 3-yard pickup by Naquan Wright will send the game into the second quarter. The Gators still up 7-0 on their home turf. We'll be right back here on the Gators Student Broadcast Network. And mute. Shout out to Ben Cohen, running one of the biggest trading card companies in the world. Heard they've made millions and millions of dollars off of prime trading cards. You guys go hit them up on Instagram at ABH Cards. They got a dope YouTube channel too. Ben, if you want to plug your stuff, go for it, man. Also being told we're ahead of the TV. I'm not really sure that's possible, but I guess. I mean, maybe like it flows faster being like right next to the stadium. So as you guys can see, we're in a press box here at Ben Hill Griffin Stadium. We were in the basement of the journalism school, which is right across the pond. Gabe Sosa walking back. The record's 6th in the live. Shout out Sam Spiesman, who does not have COVID-19. Nice to know. Wow, Jake Lehman also in the chat. We got a jam-packed audience here today. Shout out Jake Lehman. Shout out Kai Lehman, future ESPN college football analyst, budding star in the world of sports. So I'll mute myself again, and we'll get back when this game comes back. All right, bring us back in 8 seconds.
6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
The second quarter underway at Ben Hill Griffin Stadium. Gators 7, Kentucky 0. Ball on the Gators 35, 2nd and 5. Trask in the shotgun with right on his left. Hands off underneath the right, pulls it back instead, dips it out left to Justin Shorter, who appeared to be a little short of the first down. It appears like the ball came out and the refs give it to Kentucky. A costly turnover on the 37-yard line, giving the Wildcats the ball in their own territory.
And you don't really see this a lot coming out of Justin Shorter. Justin Shorter, a really big guy out of Penn State, and just drops the ball after a tackle.
And Shorter gets knocked down by Chris Oates, the junior linebacker, his first forced fumble of the season. Kelvin Joseph, one of the Wildcats there to make the recovery, his first fumble recovery of the season, as Shorter was literally standing on the 0, the far 40 marker on the field. There was a scramble for the ball, and it was all Kentucky, giving them great field possession and a chance to tie the game.
You see the helmet of one of the Kentucky players hit that football and knock it out.
And this is a team that's surprisingly good at taking the ball away. Not only do they have 13 takeaways on the season, but they have the second most interceptions in the SEC on the defensive side of the ball as the Wildcat offense takes the field. Ball on the Gators 38. Wilson in the shotgun, fakes the handoff inside. He's got a wide open man across the field. That was number 88, Keaton Upshaw, who picks up the first down. Gets brought down by Kair Elam, we'll say. Upshaw, big man filling in for Justin Rigg, who is not at this game due to COVID-19. He missed last week's game against Bama too, but already getting felt hard as Steiner was the one to bring down Upshaw.
Usually don't see a lot of passes going to anyone other than Josh Ali, but they've been getting a lot to Upshaw recently.
Kentucky already have 11 minutes and 22 seconds of possession as far as this game as Wilson hands it off inside to the man who gets brought down for about a gain of about 6. There's Amari Burney there on the tackle, wrapping up Asim Rose Jr. Rose already has 18 rushing yards on the game. Add that as it gives him about 24, leading rusher of the game. Bring up 2nd and 4, and already every 4th play, the Wildcats have passed the ball. At least that's what it says for the ratio. Wildcats lining up yet again on the Gators. 19 there, marching down the field. Wilson the shotgun again, 3 receivers outright, but it's Rose behind Wilson this time. 5 on the line with a tight end on the right. That's Bates. As Rose bounces out the left side, gets brought down just short of the yellow marker there for the stop was Amari Burney again. It was a little tough to see the number there. A 3rd and 1 for the Wildcats.
The last time they were in this situation, the Gators got a really big stop. Let's see if they can get that again today in this drive.
Wilson under center for the second time of this game. The Gators having trouble getting set, and Wilson, the second time of the game, sneaks it for a pickup of the first down and about a couple extra yards. But there is some yellow laundry on the field.
We'll see what happens here. Can't really see anything so far.
So we give the Wildcats first down, but instead it is offsides on the defense to give the Wildcats a first down and then some, adding on to the run. Already 3 penalties on the Gators. And like we said, this has been a team that's been good with penalties all season long. They've had fewer than 10 penalties in 27 straight games. Are already trending to top that and break that streak today. Wilson in the I formation. Bates on his right side, 2 yards to the right. Rose 2 yards behind him. 1st and 10 on the Gators, 11. Gators have 6 men on the line. Wilson hands it off inside to Rose, who waits patiently. No, that's Smoke who gets brought down just 2 yards short of the end zone. Not enough for the first down, but at this point, a touchdown would be the more realistic option.
Well, Smoke has been doing really well so far this game. He's just been able to keep his balance and just get a few extra yards than usual.
Garcia Smoke has 23 rushing yards on 7 rush attempts. The Wildcats split 3 out wide right, but instead they have Bates on the inside and Smoke lined up directly behind Wilson. 5 men on the line for the Wildcats. Kean Upshaw, the man in motion inside. Wilson hands it off to Smoke, who gets wrapped down for a loss of about 2. Tadaro Slayton pumped about that stop, but it's still 3rd down. The Wildcats pushing to score and tied the game here in Gainesville.
You can see a little bit of miscommunication coming from the Gators defense. You see Marco Wilson having to go to the completely other side of the field to cover a man. It was almost like 2 years ago or 3 years ago when there was a few men open against, like, for Kentucky.
Wildcats out rushing the Gators by 20, even though they are down 7. Wilson in the shotgun again. Smoke to his left. Upshot inside, 1 yard behind number 80, Brenton Bates. The team that loves to use their tight ends as almost as much as the Gators, but then again, it's a run-focused offense. They run the ball the second most times in the SEC as Wilson looks to the sideline, instead calls a timeout, the first timeout of the game attributed to Kentucky with 11:23 left until halftime. The ball on the 4-yard line, still 3rd and 3, so it's not goal to go yet, but at this point, there's about 5 or 6 inches between that goal line and the first down line. And to see if Kentucky can punch it in and potentially tie the game, stay tuned after this commercial break. Wow. Look at this.
8 people, dang.
8 in the live. Look at this. We're turning into ABH cards. Yeah, follow ABH cards. Oh, we got Gabe Flaxman. Oh my gosh, we got 9 people here, dude. This is crazy. I'll give a quick. That's Gabe.
What's up, guys? You know, the OGs of this class.
True, we've been doing this for a while. This is the studio. These are the lights we get, and just to show everyone what we have to deal with.
We don't have a lot.
Not a lot, no. Although it does help that we're ahead, which is really nice.
Did you see that during that last?
I'm going to mute myself real quick, but we'll be back after this commercial break when you hear my voice again. Ten in the live. That's a record right there. Appreciate you all. And hopefully we'll see if the Wildcats can make a score here. And I'm muted. 11 in the live. This is crazy. My gosh. I guess we're doing better than the ESPN broadcast right now. 10. That stinks. But yeah, we're muted. Want a fake commercial break. If you want to sponsor a commercial break, comment what we should sponsor in the comments below. Or honestly, we'll just make sponsors up. I don't know. Normally we have commercials. Normally we've got a full equipment. We got like intros and stuff. We got audio noises, but COVID-19 has really hit our class and everything that we try to do for the Gator Student Broadcast Network.
We're usually able to be in the stadium.
In a normal year, we're in the stadium in the press box. Like food. What did we get last year? I got Chick-fil-A last year when
I had Paisanos once. I got Jersey Mike's twice. PDQ once.
PDQ. PDQ is elite. I'll still
PDQ is
take
elite.
Chick-fil-A over PDQ, but it's pretty elite. Sponsor Burger King? I don't want to sponsor anything that sucks. Not
Hey,
good.
no, Burger King has some good chicken
And
sandwiches.
mute. Ten
Tell me when.
seconds. Wildcats 4 yards out from potentially tying this game, down 7-0 in Gainesville. Wildcats have won once in the past 33 years in the Swamp, and it was the last time these two teams faced here in 2018. The Wildcats ended a 31-year streak. As we get back to the field today with Wilson in the shotgun, Smoke on his right, sends a man in motion. That's number 89, Allen Daly Jr. Wilson lobs it over the middle, and it's Keaton Upshaw who gets up for the score. A 4-yard pass over the middle and over the outstretched arms of, it looked like Brenton Cox and Sean Davis for this touchdown.
There was like a little jump pass there, the well-known Gator jump pass, and they were able to get the 4-yard touchdown.
Yeah, almost a jump pass right over the G, and that was actually Donovan Steiner, the safety on the call. Some may say he's one of the luckiest safeties in college football. As coming on for the extra point is Matt Ruffalo. He's 100% from extra points this season, despite only being 75% from the field goal, as he knocks that one down to tie the game, and already getting a little deja vu from last week's game against Vanderbilt.
Yeah, this Gators defense really struggled for the most part last game, and also this offense, with that Justin Shorter fumble, that really makes it difficult for this Gator offense to contain a lead and double it.
Mm-hmm. And it all kind of goes back to the Justin Shorter fumble. The transfer from Penn State has played pretty well for the Gators this season. He's got 3 touchdowns on 16 receptions, but right there, that fumble immediately giving the Wildcats opportunity to score, and they capitalized on that. A costly turnover by the veteran transfer from Penn State. Speaking of Penn State, they scored first against Michigan today in what many people have been saying could be Jim Harbaugh's final season in Ann Arbor. Don't know, but that's definitely a game to keep an eye on. Indiana already on the board today, as some other teams playing in the AP Top 25. Yeah, Coastal Carolina, a surprise story marching up there, and albeit it is a COVID-19 season, but the way they've performed, they can't be counted out. I'm not saying they won't make the playoff or anything, but that'd be an interesting team and certainly a fun one to root for considering the circumstances.
There's really been just an interesting set of events this season. Yesterday, Oregon State beats Oregon. Who would have thought that would have happened?
Yeah, and they both look like a bunch of highlighters running around there, too. Thank God for the fog. It would have been too bright to watch. But that was a big game, too, especially Oregon State coming down the last few seconds to beat their rivals. And then, obviously, big news today, too, COVID-19 really making its impact felt in the college football world. Ohio State's game getting canceled. If they get one more game canceled, they won't be eligible for the championship game in that conference. But then also elsewhere in the state, Florida State won't be losing a game today because they won't be playing another one. Their game against Virginia postponed, kind of emulating what we saw last week with Clemson too. So something to keep an eye on there as games continue to be canceled. UF had 3 games postponed earlier in the season, but they managed to rearrange it. And so then their season will now end against LSU later in December, the week before then the SEC championship game, which many people assume will be Florida. It could be Gators Bama if everything holds up in Atlanta.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens tonight with Auburn, Alabama in the Iron Bowl. That's going to be a really good game, and we're going to be able to see what happens, especially with Nick Saban not in the game.
That's right. A lot of things could happen tonight. I know it's obviously a well-oiled machine, lots of different things going on as we get brought back to the game right now. Just a reminder, it's 7-7 all. And so far, this game has been sponsored not by Burger King because that stinks, but sponsored by ABH Cards. If you need some good trading cards, trying to make some good cash, go follow at ABH Cards on Instagram and on YouTube, as both teams getting ready to take the field. And already this Wildcat team is doing this without their leading rusher on the season, Chris Rodriguez. He missed last week due to COVID-19 against Bama, and he's missing today too. He leads the team in rushing yards and rushing touchdowns, but that doesn't seem to faze the Wildcats.
Really, what you really got to see from this Gator offense is passing the ball. That's what they've been doing all season. You see Naquan Wright, Damian Pierce, Malik Davis getting the ball a lot more so far. I feel like they should just keep on throwing the ball, and they'll be able to get a lot more yardage there. And
Chance Poor gets the next possession underway. Not a poor kick at all. Sends it back through the end zone with 11:18 left. The Gators offense takes the field one more time, led by Kyle Trask, who some may say could be a Heisman candidate and maybe the Heisman favorite this season.
Yeah, it's going to be really tough. I mean, so far there's big names, Justin Fields, unfortunately not having a lot of games so far. Matt Jones, he's definitely the one that's giving trouble to Kyle Trask so far. That's going to be a very good matchup, especially if it's possible during the SEC championship.
Trask in the shotgun yet again with Davis on his left side. Trask has some time in the pocket, climbs up, finds some space, finds a receiver along the right side. It's Kadarius Toney, who despite the hit stays up. And man, does this guy ever know how to fall down?
And that's exactly what I'm trying to say. Just the more passing they do, the better. Kadarius Toney, he's not scared to stay on his feet. Kyle Pitts, just a big guy, able to do everything he can. One of the best tight ends in the nation. Jacob Copeland, great. Trayvon Grimes, and much more.
1st and 10 on the Gators' 46-yard line. Davis bounces outside, gets brought down for about a loss of 1. Couldn't find anything along the left side. And it's a close game, and it's something that we've kind of become accustomed to seeing over the past few years, with Kentucky leading in the last 3 games in the fourth quarter. The Gators having to come back, and of course the last 2 of 3 times they prevailed, with the last time's meeting ending up with Kyle Trask finishing the game for the injured Felipe Franks, as Trask is lined up on the about the 40-yard line in the shotgun. Gators with the ball in their 45. Trask hands it off inside to Davis, who gets brought down about a yard left, the top jaw of the Gator head at midfield for another Florida 3rd down.
They've really slowed down this offense a little bit today. I feel, as I said, they need to throw the ball a little bit more, and that's what's been helping so far.
Yeah, and Trask has thrown at least 1 touchdown in every game since the last game they played against Kentucky last season. As a 3rd and 6, trips receivers to the right, but one of those receivers is not Malik Davis, who motions out to the left side to join Justin Shorter. Trask, the load man in the backfield, has some time in the pocket, looks left, finds Malik Davis underneath, but sails through his hands. They've really relied on Davis as a receiver this year, but this time he couldn't reel in the catch.
Yeah, Kyle Trask threw that a little bit too high, just passes through Malik Davis's hands, and starting the 4th down.
Yeah, bounces off to give Dan Mullen another decision. Remember the last time they faced a 4th down, it was a fake punt handing off inside to Damian Pierce. And this time, Jacob Finn jogs on the field once again. Doesn't appear they'll fake punt, but you never know with Dan Mullen's team. They've already done 2 other fake punts this season, as Finn sails this one far and high down to the 6-yard line, where Josh Ali fields the punt to give the Wildcats the ball back with 9:37 left until the halftime. Still 7-all here on the Gator Student Broadcast Network. Nice. 10 on the live. Huge. Back live on the Gator Student Broadcast Network. Right out of break we go, as Cavassier Smoke gets a negative loss of 1 yard. And already we've seen the Wildcats really outpace the Gators here. It they've run 10 more plays, but it's the Gators who are averaging more yards per play with 9 as opposed to Kentucky, who are only getting about 3.5 yards per play run as Wildcats have the ball lined up just on the 6-7 yard line and deep in their own territory. Wilson just 2 yards shy of his own end zone. Instead, hands it off inside to Smoke. He had a man in motion, but it hands off to Smoke, who bounces along the right side, gets brought down around the 20-yard marker. He points forward to the first down, which he picked up on the play.
14 yards is there for Smoke, and just terrible defense there. The offensive line started really well for this Kentucky offense and just gave so much space for Smoke to get those 15 yards.
They like to use guys Smoke. They like to use Rose. Basically, any players like that. They got some Smoke and some Rose in the backfield, but there you see Terry Wilson in the backfield. And this is a running back group manned by Eddie Gran, who spent some time with the Gators running back coach Greg Knox in Ole Miss back in the 90s. And instead, they hand off to Josh Ali. It's not Smoke or Rose, but that's Ali dancing along the left side. Not enough for the first down, but it is a solid pickup to move the chains, or not move the chains. A good pickup, about 7 yards.
Doing really well so far, Josh Ali, and just this offense is doing really well.
You see the Wildcats are averaging 178 yards per game. Wilson looks to the sideline. He's got Rose on his left side. Just 1 yard to go to the yellow line. With Bates lined up just behind the left tackle. Hands off inside to Rose, who had got some running room, but in comes Sean Davis to knock down Rose. But it was enough for the first down for Kentucky.
Rose is doing so well, making that extra yardage to get that first down for the Kentucky Wildcats.
Already, the Kentucky, they're on 3 plays on this drive with 7:25 and counting left until halftime. 1st and 10, ball on the Kentucky 29, slowly but surely making their way down the Gators field. Wilson once again in the shotgun. Bates lined up just on the inside shoulder of the left tackle. There's Wilson one more time in a buck formation. Haven't seen that often today. Is some patient running by Rose, who picks up a gain of about 4 right through the middle, just across the nostril in the Gator head.
Like we said 2 years ago, snapping that 31-game losing streak against Florida. And so far, it seems like they do have a chance to get twice in a row in the swamp.
And, of course, the last time the two teams played, they had John Schlarman, an offensive line coach for the Wildcats, who passed away earlier in the year last week against Vanderbilt. The Wildcats took a delay of game, which Vanderbilt declined. They left their left tackle spot open in honor of Schlarman. And guard Austin Dotson today wearing 65 in remembrance as Wilson fakes the handoff inside and bounces out to the right. He gets shoved out of bounds, and he chips up a couple of his own players. Is it enough for the first down? The refs give him yes. It looked close. He might have gotten it by about a hair or two, but it is enough to move the chains for the Wildcats.
The Wildcats, they're getting making every opportunity they get count, and it's really troubling for this Gators defense.
There's Wilson one more time in the shotgun. Wildcats have had the ball for about 13 more minutes than the Gators. There's Smoke in the backfield behind Wilson. Wilson hands it off to Smoke on the inside, pulls it back to the last second, throws over the middle, but a player falls down, and that's number 86, DeMarcus Harris, who got tripped up as flags come a-flying.
Seems like it's going to be a pass interference on the Gators.
That appears what it be. You had Harris along the right side getting a little tangled up with Khair Elam, but it appears he just stumbled. Oh, no, there you see a good angle by the camera crew with Elam, who appeared to get a little bit back of Harris's shoulder to drag him down. And then Darrell Slayton almost got a hand on it, as did almost Kyrie Campbell. But instead, Sean Davis, who could have come up with a pick had he stayed upright, but either way, it would have been negated by the penalty to move the Wildcats to the midfield marker and giving them a first down. Wilson, the shotgun, motions Ali to the right of him. He's got Smoke 1 yard to the left and 1 yard to the back of him. Wilson hands off inside to Ali, who pulls left. He's got Smoke at the blocker and some space. Gets tackled around the SEC marker, 5 yards past the first down with 5:43 left until halftime. The Wildcats are slowly but surely rolling their way down the field.
And so far, it looks like this Wildcats offense is going to get these extra 6 points and gain the lead for the first time this game.
Still tied up. Both teams having a little struggle early on, but it appears to be the Wildcats who are finding that rhythm. And you've got Josh Ali. They haven't really used him too much as a runner this season. This is the team's leading receiver. He has 395 receiving yards, only 1 touchdown, as he takes a quick breather on the sideline. Wilson hands off inside to Smoke, who gets swallowed up by a starving Jervon Dexter. And there's that man you were preaching about earlier.
Jervon Dexter, he's just been such a huge piece in this defense and continues to do so.
His 12th tackle of the season, 2nd of the game for the Gators, to bring out 2nd and 10, approaching the 4.5-minute mark until halftime. It would be huge for Mark Stoops' program to take a lead in Gainesville at halftime. Wilson once again in the shotgun, motions to the left. No receiver slides in. There's Ali at the last second. Wilson pulls back the handoff, throws it to Ali on the right side with Cox in his face as Ali gets brought down at the line of scrimmage. A fancy little play, but for no gain.
Yeah, no gain there. It was a nice little screen play and made 1 block, but Elam was able to get there early.
And 3rd and 9. The Gators bring out their 3rd and Grantham defense. Kentucky has only converted on 1 of their 5 third downs this entire game. Kyle Trask already getting warmed up on the sideline, but for now it's Terry Wilson as a lone quarterback on the field with Rose to his right. They have 3 receivers spread out throughout the field. Keaton Upshaw bounces from the left tackle spot to the right tackle spot. With his hand in the dirt, Wilson barking out orders, changing the play at the line for the Wildcats. They got 5 offensive linemen. The Gators showing a blitz with 3rd and 9. Wilson looks to the left side, feels the pressure, scrambles up through the pocket, has some space between the first down and bounces out to the right side before getting forced out of bounds by Khair Elam. A broken play with great improvisation by Wilson.
This is really a problem that's been going on with this Gators defense. On those 3rd and long plays, they're just given easy opportunity to get the first down, and Kentucky is able to convert there.
And Terry Wilson picking up an extra 11 yards on the ground to bring his total to 22 rushing yards on the game, combined with 339 coming into the game. This is a guy they really love to use him on the ground. It's his legs that they love, and already today, though, for the passes that he's done, he's thrown the ball 7 times. He's only had 1 incompletion, so he's been pretty effective in both aspects of the game for the Wildcats. As he's in the shotgun, hands it off inside to Rose, gets swallowed up for a gain of about 1. There was Mohamed Diabate as one of the helpers for the Gator defense. You bring about 2nd and goal. The Wildcats taking their time on this drive. They've had the ball for nearly 14 minutes more than the Gators have this entire game. The Gators have only had the ball on offense for about 5.5 minutes, and they've got that touchdown from Kyle to Kyle earlier on in the game, but this time it's the Wildcats barking on the door to take their first lead of the game. This is a very historic rivalry. Both teams going back and forth the last 3 meetings, but this time it's Wilson in the shotgun, motions Ollie inside, fakes inside. He's got Diabate right in his face, so Wilson forces to throw it back to the right pylon to bring down 3rd and goal from the Gators 5.
Diabate got there so quick. It was just so hard for Wilson to make any sort of play there.
And already the Wildcats only converted on 2 third downs. They converted on that last one, which was a Wilson run. It's Todd Grantham barking out orders from the sideline. Still ball 3rd and 5, 2:23 approaching halftime. Wilson in the shotgun. Ali split out wide to left with Sean Davis lined up head-to-head on him. Wilson barking out more orders to his offensive line. He's got Rose on his right side, just 1 yard in front of him to the right. Wilson looks left, looks for Ali. Instead, scans the field, looks right, dances back in the backfield, has Rose along the side, but throws it out of bounds, but not before a flag is thrown into play.
Can't really see what exactly happened on that play there for the flag. Might be holding.
And that's exactly what it is, but the question is on what team? Dan Mullen not happy about something on the sideline. Instead, it is a holding call on the offense with 2:17. Mullen getting in the face of Todd Grantham. Both coaches go way back. They worked together at Mississippi State. Mullen clearly heated about something. But either way, this 4th and goal, what could have been a huge play for the Wildcats, now hoping to take the lead before halftime. I'm just really in awe here. The only thing we're seeing on the screen right now is Mullen and Grantham going at it. Grantham not even looking at Mullen. Mullen getting in the face of Grantham. Grantham not wearing his mask. Might want to add that. As instead, it's Matt Ruffalo gets onside gets on the field for the kick as he skips it in along the right side, right into the All-State hands. The Wildcats take a lead. The 3-5 Kentucky Wildcats marching into Ben Hill Griffin Stadium to take a 10-7 lead with 2:13 left at half to see if the Gators can score before halftime and retake the lead in their home turf. Stay tuned right after this on the Gator Student Broadcast Network.
My bad.
That was fun.
I literally zoned.
Pat Fitzgerald is a great coach, Jacob. Hope you're doing well. Cincinnati, too, man. You got two good teams to root for. And I'll mute it back in a second.
Mm-hmm.
I would imagine Grantham probably already. A little bit.
Himself already.
Thank you, Jacob Ruby. Shout out Jacob Ruby. This commercial break was brought to you by the fantastic cleaning services of Jacob J. Ruby. Four, three, two. Wildcats up by 3 with 2:13 left till halftime. The Wildcats marched down the field in 14 plays, spanning 87 yards and nearly 7.5 minutes just to take a 3-point lead as the Gators offense hopefully looks to put some points back on the field before halftime.
Yeah, you really haven't been able to see a lot from this Gators offense. You obviously saw that first drive by them with that 56-yard touchdown by Kyle Pitts. But other than that, you really haven't seen a lot.
Definitely not. And Trask, he's only 6 for 9 with 104 and a touchdown. We've seen him put up 3, 4, even 5 touchdowns in the first half this season as Kadarius Toney fields the kick for a touchback. So it's a little bit different from what we've seen. Maybe it's a Gators team that really just needs to get the ball rolling. We kind of saw that with Vanderbilt last week. It needed to take some time to really start building up a lead on a team that many people viewed and knew was inferior. So, what's something that this Gators offense can really do to start getting back in this game?
I mean, this is exactly what happened against Vanderbilt. They were actually down 10-7 last week by the half. So, what they have to do, they have to be able to throw the football more. Obviously, not cause those turnovers like Justin Shorter did. But other than that, just throw the football, make those big plays, and you'll be able to succeed in this game.
Like I said, Trask only has 104 passing yards, and Florida has logged 300-plus passing yards 15 times under Mullen, including 10 times in its last 11 games. And in the 156 games spanning the 2017 seasons, by the way, you have reached 300 passing yards just 16 times. There's certainly a lot to live up to today. Trask, while he is on pace to make that the 16th time that Mullins had a Gators quarterback throw for 16 passing yards, in his head coaching tenure. It's looking like an offense that's a little asleep, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, absolutely. You see Kyle Trask, he's having those Joe Burrow type of seasons so far. Obviously, they have less games going on, so it'd probably be a lot more similar if there were 12 games. But, Kyle Trask, he's been able to do everything for this offense. He's been able to throw the football, when he needs to, get those 1 to 2 yard runs for the third and short downs. But for the most part, you're not really seeing that today.
Definitely not. And as you're looking at the Kentucky side of the ball, you've got 3 runners who already have more than 20-plus yards rushing. The entire team has run for 116 yards. Asim Rose has 44 rushing yards. Cavassier Smoke has 35. And Terry Wilson, the dual-threat dynamic quarterback, he's got 22 rushing yards, including 49 passing yards and 1 touchdown. Of course, both quarterbacks in the game are 6 for 9 with passing. But you've only really seen the Gators use Kadarius Toney and Kyle Pitts today. In fact, only Kadarius Toney is the Gators receiver who has more than 1 reception today. You've got Kyle Pitts, Rick Wells, Damian Pearson, Justin Shorter, all with 1 catch each. Malik Davis had a drop through the hands on what could have been a crucial first down for them. Instead, saw the Gators punt at the end of that possession. So and like we said, this is a team that really is used to spreading the ball. They lead the FBS in players that have caught more than 3 touchdown passes on the year.
There's really something that I've noticed. I haven't seen Trayvon Grimes at all this game. Last week he mossed the player. He's done some big catches for this Gators offense, but you haven't seen him at all today.
Definitely. It's something to keep up as the game progresses. But for the most part, it's still 10-7 with the Wildcats up by 3. And like we said earlier in the game, the team that loves to run the ball. And speaking of running the ball, you've got lots of action going on today throughout college football. You've got the Iron Bowl, Auburn, Alabama, which would have huge implications not just on the SEC, but on the Gators specifically, if Auburn is to pull out a victory with no Nick Saban coaching. As we head back down to the field with Kyle Trask in a shotgun, Naquan Wright on the right of Trask, with Kyle Pitts lined up to the far right, 4-man on the line for Kentucky as Trask looks down the field, instead dumps off to the right on his right near the near hash. Gets shoved out of bounds 2 yards short of the first down marker with 2:08 left until half.
And one thing that, other than we've seen that's going on today, the first ever female is going to be playing in college football today and for Vanderbilt.
Well, she would be the first ever female to score points for a Power 5 program as Trask back in the pocket dumps off to right along the right side yet again, tries to make one juke set, gets shoved out around the 40-yard line, but it is enough for the first down. And that's talking about that historic moment. Katie Haneda back in 1999 did suit up for Colorado, and then she 4 years later for New Mexico State, she actually kicked 2 extra points. But if Sarah Fuller were to score points today, it would be the first female to ever score points for a Power 5 program. Could be a historic day in the SEC. Meanwhile, back to this SEC game, Trask is right on the screen on the left side, and that's exactly what he hits. A nice little bubble to the left as Wright gets shoved out of bounds about a couple inches short of the first down. It's not enough, but it's still got time left for the Gators to retake the lead before half. About 1:46 left. Trask is past 100 passing yards already. He's got 120. He's 8 for 11, so he still only has those 3 completions from earlier in the game, including 1 to Malik Davis, as the Gators settle down and talk about how they're going to finish this quarter.
Right. He's been the only man that Kyle Trask has looked at this drive, and it's been successful so far. One for a 5-yard pass, then about 7 yards, and now gets another first down for Naquan Wright.
Mm-hmm. As a Kentucky player is down, Quinton Bohanna, the senior from Cordova, Tennessee, is down. But what really makes this Gators team so good is all the different type of players that they can throw the ball to, right?
Exactly. You have at tight end, you have Kyle Pitts, you have Kamari Gamble, you have Zipper, and then at wide receiver, you have the young guy Xavier Henderson, you have Trayvon Grimes, a veteran of this team. You have so many big players that are such an important piece for this Gators offense.
Mm-hmm. And the Gators, they lead all FBS teams with 13 touchdowns by tight ends this season. And only one other FBS team has more than 7 receiving touchdowns by tight ends. You want to take a guess? Our Gator Student Broadcast Network trivia question of the day, sponsored by ABH Cards.
I'm not sure.
It's a team on the West. It's a relatively big team. They're ranked right now.
I'm honestly
If
not
you
sure.
think you know the answer to that, comment below and you get a special shout out as we have 5 in the live. And live back on the field, right, motions out to the left. Trask and lone man in the shotgun. Tony on the inside slot on the right. Kentucky showing 3 blitzers. Instead, as Trask has time in the pocket, looks to the left side, shoots down the sideline, but into the hands of a Kentucky defensive lineman along the sideline. Incomplete pass, 2nd and 10 for the Gators.
Yeah, well, this is the first time really this drive that Kyle Trask didn't really have anyone there. There was only 3 men blitzing, and they still almost got to him there.
Tony and Wright just didn't have enough spacing along the sidelines for Trask to pass it to him, and Trask in the shotgun again. Got stacks both sides on the far side. It's Wright and Pitts, and Trask passes it to Trayvon Grimes, his first catch of the game. Picks up enough for the first down, but there is a flag on the play that would have moved the chains again, but instead this one could be coming back to the Kentucky's 49-yard line and then some.
What we're seeing right here, what exactly happened?
It looks like illegal hands to the face, a face mask on the Gators, which will bring back that play again for a 2nd down. The culprit being Stone Forsythe, the redshirt senior. And man, he is a mammoth along that offensive line. He is 6'9". We've really seen his play improve. But on that one, the Gators' 5th penalty of the game, as he got his hand in the face of one of the Kentucky defenders. It appears to be, that was number 13, J.J. Weaver, who was talking a little smack before the game about how he can guard Kyle Pitts. And already, I don't think anyone's been able to guard Kyle Pitts this game. But it is 2nd and 25. Gators still down 3. We've got one man in the shotgun next to Trask. That's Naquan Wright, and that's who Trask passed it to along the left side again for a pick of about 4.5 to give the Gators a still 3rd and long.
Yeah, it's going to be tough for this Gators offense to get there. But, with all the pieces that they have, I could see them going for the first down.
Gators looking to the sideline once again. 1:30 left until halftime. Ball on Kentucky's 41. That penalty backed them up in the Gators territory. Trask in a shotgun once again, right to his right. Trask has time in the pocket, looks downfield, feels pressure along the left side, and dumps it off to right across the Gator teeth. Gets brought down about a couple inches past the midfield marker, but it is still a 4th down. Gators offense on the field still indicating they could go for it as Mark Stoops calls the 2nd timeout of the game for the Wildcats.
Yeah, well, this is going to be really tough going for a 4th and long here. That'd be a tough one to go for.
They could bring out Jacob Finn with 4th and 11 left on the Gators' 41-yard line. And this is a Gators team that is not unfamiliar with playing down against Kentucky. The last 3 games they've played against Kentucky, they have been down in the 4th quarter. And 2 of those 3 games, they have prevailed. Of course, the last time they met, we all know the story by now. We can talk all we want about 2018, when the Wildcats ended a 31-year losing streak to the Gators, but their 2019 match was well documented, but for good reason. The 9th-ranked Gators were down 11 with over 3 minutes left in the 3rd quarter when Felipe Franks injured his ankle and Kyle Trask came in, and the rest is history. Trask led the Gators to a 19-point comeback, and here he is over a year later starting for the Gators and on track to go to the Heisman ceremony, or at least the virtual Heisman ceremony in December, as Jacob Finn, once again, for his 3rd punt of the game. It's a high arcing kick towards the near pylon. As Trayvon Grimes is there, but he doesn't matter because the ball bounces and rolls down to the 1-yard line. A fantastic punt by Jacob Finn, the redshirt senior.
You really can't do anything better than that. At the 1-yard line with only a minute left, it's going to be hard to see this Kentucky offense take it all the way.
Grimes was there along the near side in case the ball slowed down and rolled into the end zone, but he didn't need to. Ended up giving the Wildcats not optimal field position.
Let's see if the Gators can get a possible safety here.
And Terry Wilson standing in the D in Florida in the end zone. The offensive line right now standing along the edge of the end zone. 1st and 10 on Kentucky's 1-yard line, 1:13 until both teams go into the locker room. Marco Wilson backs up from playing man, gives a little cushion along the right side. Wilson hands off inside to Rose, pick up about 3, but Ventrell Miller was there, the star middle linebacker for the Gators defense this season.
Ventrell Miller, he's a big piece. Obviously, you have Ventrell Miller, Kyrie Campbell. You have a lot of big names for this Gators defense here.
And already Dan Mullen burning his first time out of the game on 2nd and 7 as we head into another fake commercial break here on the Gator Student Broadcast Network. And gonna mute. Thanks to all 4 people watching.
One.
5, 4, 3, 2, go. Terry Wilson and crew back on the field following Dan Mullen's 32nd timeout. First timeout taken by the Gators all game. Ball on the Gators' 3-yard line in between, or Kentucky's 3-yard line in between the 3 and 4. Hash mark Brenton Cox showing a blitz off the right side. Wilson hands off inside to Rose, who gets a pickup of about 4, but it's not enough for the first down, giving the Wildcats another 3rd down, causing Dan Mullen to burn another timeout.
Dan Mullen, it seems like they're trying to get the ball back in their hands right now.
Mm-hmm. And for all the struggles the Gators have had today, you can't overlook how well Mullen has done with this Gators program. Since being hired in 2018, the Gators have posted offensive numbers similar to that of Urban Meyer and Steve Spurrier. But get this, out of all the Power 5 head coaches to be hired 2 years ago, only Mullen has more than 2 wins against AP top 10 teams. That was the best record against Powered 5 teams of those coaches, which include Scott Frost of Nebraska, Chip Kelly of UCLA, Mario Cristobal of Oregon. So it's been quite a good turnaround following the Will Muschamp and Jim McElwain days, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, absolutely. And Scott Frost was also a choice that Florida were looking into as a new head coach, but it seems like Dan Mullen was a big choice, the best choice for them.
As Dan Mullen and Todd Grantham's defense back on the field for 3rd and 2. Wilson in the shotgun, Bates right behind the right tackle. Ali along the left side. Wilson hands off inside to Rose, who gets wrapped down by Ventrell Miller. He's got 52 tackles on the season, but it appears Rose holding his right ankle on the play.
And that's definitely not something you want to see as a Kentucky fan, Zach.
Definitely not, Gabe. And either way, adding insult to injury, it's 4th and 1 for the Wildcats. The Gators take their final timeout, sending us once again into a commercial break. Don't go anywhere. You are listening or watching the Gators Student Broadcast Network. Following that injury to Asim Rose, he was helped off the field holding his right calf, right ankle. Either way, that right leg he was favoring as 4th and 1. On to punt is Max Duffy standing on the R in the Florida in the end zone. The Gators, though, lining up as if it'll be a fake punt, prepping for some protection, as instead Duffy sells it end over end. A nice little fake, almost juked out the cameraman. That's Kadarius Toney. He's got some space. He's got some room. It's a foot race to the end zone, and there it is. Kadarius Toney, the first punt return for a touchdown for the Gators all season to take the lead before halftime. Some fancy trickeration from Dan Mullen on the special teams.
Yeah, that definitely faked me out as well. I thought it was going to the right side, and then you see Kadarius Toney running all the way to the end zone for a touchdown. That really surprised me and a lot of people at the stadium today.
And how about that? The Gators sideline loving that play from start to finish. And here's what happened. Duffy punted to the left side, but the Gators special teams running to the left side. And oh my goodness, the return man, who I can't tell right now due to the blur of the TV, was Marco Wilson, it appears, or Xavier Henderson, faked the return. Instead, it was Toney who caught on the opposite side of the field, leading this McPherson extra point. My gosh, it reminds me of the Stedman Bailey, Tavon Austin about 5-6 years ago during the Jeff Fisher days. Back when they were still in St. Louis, they pulled off something like that, and it worked just like this play worked. A fantastic play design by the Gators. My gosh, and of course you're going to get that into the hands of Kadarius Toney, and once he juked out a couple defenders along midfield, it was off to the races.
It was off to the races, and there was only one guy on the Kentucky special teams that actually noticed it was going to Toney, and he just wasn't able to beat that footwork by Kadarius Toney, and it was off to the races, and 7 points for the Gators.
And just like that, the blue and orange take the lead over the blue and white with 14-10. There's still 42 seconds left in the half, and the Gators have all 3 timeouts burned. But that was designed purposefully like that. Xavier Henderson, younger brother of Jacksonville Jaguars and Gator alum C.J. Henderson, and faked the catch along the near side of the field, and Toney was the one who fielded along the left side.
And that just gives the Florida Gators a lead again.
And Ms. McPherson sends for the kickoff. And either way, it is fielded about by the 3-yard line. Oh, there's a scrum on the field right now. It's certainly a little dicey. It was Brett Slusher getting into it with it looked like Quaylen Crum. Couldn't really tell with the camera angle given to us right now, but either way, it's a Gator and a Kentucky Wildcat getting tangled up. And man, if you're Kadarius Toney, you can really do it all.
Yeah, you can really do it all. And I think this extra year that he's been with the Gators is definitely going to help his draft stock for this upcoming draft.
Definitely, right now over the Draft Network, they're projecting him to be a high-rising day 2 prospect. I wouldn't say anyone thinks he'll be a first-rounder, but at this point, he's solidified himself to maybe be a late 2nd-round pick, early 3rd-round pick at best. And this is a guy who's dealt with health a lot throughout his career, durability too. But either way, back to the field where you get Terry Wilson, hands it off inside to Gavassier Smoke, who runs into his own lineman. And that was Luke Fortner, the guard for the Wildcats, who accidentally sent Smoke to the ground.
Yeah, and that just causes a bit more frustration out of this Kentucky offense.
Definitely, as the Wildcats look to just roll out this clock, ticking down to halftime. The Gators 14, the Wildcats 10. It's a 2nd and 9, but that ball won't be moving till the 3rd quarter, as the Gators will receive the second half kickoff. But not the best showing, but man, just that play in general was so impressive to watch.
There's just so much out of Dan Mullen that you love to see. Fake punts, these trickery punt returns or kick returns. Not many coaches do that, and you can see that Dan Mullen has a lot of faith in his team.
Definitely. As we head into halftime here on the Gator Student Broadcast Network, we will be back in a couple of minutes for a quick halftime show. But until then, stay tuned. Don't miss anything here on the Gator Student Broadcast Network. That was awesome. My God, that was so cool. I'm glad we got to call that.
Yeah.
Yeah, good call, Ben. Tyler Lockett and I want to say Paul Richardson maybe did that a few years ago in Seattle. Not entirely sure, but yeah, we've seen that before too. That was pretty awesome. Shout out Dylan Joseph. Hopefully, like, he's still good. I honestly haven't seen that kid in like 4 or 5 months, maybe, but I'd assume he's doing big things. Shout out Greg Joseph, though. Definitely the better Joseph with the pairing. Practice squatted up on the NFC South. Did I get that right? Yeah, I don't know what I'm saying. I gotta eat. Greg Joseph, doing big things of the soon-to-be 6th-seeded Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yep.
Go back at 10.
8, 7, 6, 5, 4.
Back in Gainesville, where the Gators are up 4 on the visiting Kentucky Wildcats, 14-10 entering the second half. And you would think it would be all Gators right now, Gabe. I'm Zach Cohen alongside Gabe Sosa, but Kentucky's kept it pretty close.
Absolutely. The yards are exactly tied, 175 yards to 175 yards. Passing yards has definitely gone in Florida's favor, and the rushing yards are definitely in Kentucky's favor. It's just two different sides of the football, and I think it's made it a very close game so far.
And Dameon Pierce being the leading rusher for the Gators is nothing new. He normally leads the Gators in rushing, but it's a team that likes to use all 3 of their running backs. They got Dameon Pierce, Malik Davis, Naquan Wright. So we've kind of seen Dan Mullen interchange them a little bit more, especially with Greg Knox as the running backs coach. They like to use a little bit more of a committee approach. But obviously the real story here is Kyle Pitts is back. He's only has 1 reception, but that reception went for 56 yards and a touchdown. It was a pretty incredible display of Pitts' athleticism and skill set, and it's one of the reasons why he's already considered to be a top pick in the 2021 NFL Draft.
Absolutely. He's just such a big piece for this Florida offense. Whenever he's on the field, it's just it's either blocking or catching or even just running after the catch. He's always going to improve, and he's always going to, help this Gators offense improve and just be a better team.
And as for the defensive side of the ball, you've got 2 sacks already, one of them by Brenton Cox, a transfer from Georgia, and then Zach Carter and Muhammad Diabate combining for another one. It's only been 2 sacks. Kentucky has not either sacks either, but it's what tends to happen when you're playing down by COVID. They're coming in today without 16 players, including 3 starters. All of whom are disclosed, but coming back today, Jamin Davis, the inside linebacker for the Wildcats. He hasn't made too much of a dent, but Mark Stoops praised him coming up ahead of the game. And keep in mind, this was a key player that the Wildcats didn't have in their 60-point beatdown against Alabama last week when he was out to COVID. As we continue to see COVID run rampant, not just through college football, but now the NFL. As we turn back, I know you were talking about this earlier, a lot of storylines here in college football, but we've already seen, this is really cool to talk about on air with Sarah Fuller. Only the second female to ever suit up for a Power 5 program. And if she scores points today, whether it be extra points or field goal, she could be the first woman in college football history to score points for a Power 5 program. So certainly we'll be keeping an eye on that and other SEC happenings. But back to this game now as the Gators get ready to return the kickoff. Is there anything the Wildcats can do to retake the lead that we saw the Gators take back after that sweet trick play with Kadarius Toney?
I mean, as I've been saying all game, they've been doing so well offensively, just running the football. That's been their main part of this offense. And if they continue to do that, they could definitely keep this defense struggling for the Gators.
And there's the kickoff by Porritt. A touchback with Toney, who doesn't get the chance to return it. And here comes Kyle Trask. Man, we've been talking about him all season long. And already today, he's got 144 passing yards for a touchdown, a little shy of what he's used to be. Keep in mind, he is only 3 touchdowns shy of tying Tim Tebow for the 4th most passing touchdowns in a single season for the program history. So he has a lot to live up to in this half.
Absolutely. And, there's only 10 games allowed this season in the regular season. If he had those extra 2 games, who knows what would have happened.
And Trask in the shotgun looks over the middle of the field, and he finds a leaping Kadarius Toney, who gets tackled, but it was for the first down. It's not often we get to say Kadarius Toney was tackled.
Absolutely. As I said in the second quarter, the way this Gators team is going to win and rack up the points is by throwing the football. They've been doing that all season, and they're going to continue to do that.
Dameon Pierce on the left of Trask, Copeland, Toney on the right. Kyle Pitts lined up just outside the left tackle with Trayvon Grimes and Justin Shorter on the left side. Trask fakes the handoff inside, and he finds Trayvon Grimes just short of the first down before getting pushed out on the far sideline to bring it a 2nd and 1 on the Gators 46.
You see that 2 plays, 2 throwing plays, and 19 yards there. Just getting those big yards in right away.
A little bit of a dink and dunk offense as Trask in the shotgun again with Davis on his right side. Stacks up top. That's Tony and Copeland with Pitts spread out wide right. Trask fakes like he's going to pass it inside. Instead, he goes to Tony, who's scrambling around the right as if he's looking to throw, and he finds Kyle Pitts on the opposite side of the field. A broken trick play, but nonetheless, Kyle Pitts finds a way to pick up 10 yards and the first down.
And Kadarius Toney able to get out of that way with the two defenders, that's just unbelievable, and still able to make that throw to Kyle Pitts for the first down. There's just nothing Kadarius Toney can't do.
I remember last week we saw Kadarius Toney on a fake play. He got the screen out to the right, and he threw it down to Kamari Gamble for the touchdown. On this case, it was the opposite side of the field. It wasn't for a touchdown, but they did move the chains as Trask motions for Toney to come inside to Trask. As Trask back in the pocket, he gets hit in the face by a defender as the flag comes flying in. That was number 13, J.J. Weaver, who was chirping a bit on social media this week, who basically slapped Trask in the face.
Yeah, I mean, right there. That's just, wow. You just see that replay and his helmet almost falls off.
Oh, my God.
That's definitely looking bad for the Kentucky defense.
Yeah, as Weaver got a full face of Kyle Trask in his hands. My gosh. Of course, that's a flag. They're calling a face mask, not illegal hands to the face. Didn't seem like he grabbed the face mask. But you don't need to grab the face mask as long as you make a sizable impact on the play with the hands to the face mask. They'll call that a face mask. That's only the Wildcats' first penalty of the game, too. It's been a relatively disciplined game. We saw a couple scraps earlier in the second quarter, but either way, it's enough for a first down as Trask with Davis along the left side. Trask once again hands it off inside to Pierce. As Pierce brought down for a gain of about 1.
You see those running plays, they just haven't been able to find anything there, and those passing plays have definitely been an improvement for this Gators team.
Definitely is another flag on the field. Gators still under their 10 flag mark. They've gone 27 straight games without getting more than that. A little confusion on the field, but either way, the refs say that's another penalty against Kentucky. Mark Stoops not happy. It's a face mask on the Kentucky defense.
That's 2 face masks in a row. That's just not what they want to see.
Definitely not. It was Cordell Looney, the senior defensive end for the Wildcats, is the culprit. And just Gators continuing to march down the field. Not in the ways they wanted to, though. They had a broken trick play, a couple penalties here and there to put them now deeper into Kentucky territory. They have the ball on the Wildcats' 13-yard line. Trask in the shotgun, Davis out right, Kyle Pitts spread wide out right, and that's who Trask looks to in the backcourt of the end zone. Pitts can't get up there, but the flag comes in for the 3rd straight play. Pitts saying, yes, sir, that was pass interference. But, of course, Calvin Joseph, the defensive back for the Wildcats, saying that definitely wasn't. Either way, we'll get a quick look at that on the replay, but the refs calling that DPI on Joseph, his first flag of the game.
And that's just hit. You just see him grabbing Kyle Pitts there, just nowhere for Pitts to go. And that's going to get the Florida offense to the 1-yard line.
That was a surefire touchdown, too, had there not been DPI. Pitts, he was standing at 6'6", has nearly 5 inches on Joseph, who is still considered to be pretty tall for a cornerback. But either way, that gives the Gators all the way down to the Wildcats' 2-yard line.
3 straight penalties for the Wildcats as well, 0 in the first half.
Trask sends Tony in motion, hands it off inside to Davis, but throws it inside to outstretched hands at Kyle Pitts. He can't get the score in the last play thanks to DPI. This time he gets in for 6, his 2nd touchdown of the day. Man, if you're a Gators fan, you got to love this Kyle to Kyle connection.
That's everything a Gator fan loves to see, Kyle to Kyle. And you see Kyle Pitts rockabye the baby there at the end for the celebration.
Nice little celebration as he juked by Ed Eccles for the touchdown, a 2-yard touchdown to increase the Gator lead to 10, pending the extra point to make it 21-10.
Just a great start for this half for the Florida Gators, and we'll see what happens next drive.
And that's the Gators drive that you like to really see. 5 plays, 75 yards, 225. McPherson splits down the upright And just like that, starting to feel like good old-fashioned Dan Mullen football here in the swamp. The Gators 21, Wildcats 10. Stick around. We'll be right back here on the Gator Student Broadcast Network. Nice.
So it's
We're back in 15. All 2 viewers in the chat.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 2, 1, go.
Kyle Pitts' second touchdown of the day gives the Gators an 11-point lead with 12:35 left in the third quarter. The number 6 Gators are up on top here in the swamp. Zach Cohn alongside Gabe Sosa as Mark Stoops and the Kentucky Wildcats looking to claw back now from an 11-point deficit. And, Stoops, he's in his 8th season as Kentucky's head coach. He has a 47-49 record in that time, which includes 23 wins, but 41 losses in SEC play. However, a win today, however improbable you may think it could be, would give Stoops 48 career victories at Kentucky, moving him past Fran Kersey for second on the school's all-time list. So maybe Coach Stoops can pull off an upset and move himself up in the Kentucky record books as Evan McPherson sends this kick end over end to get the Kentucky's drive started. And this one's actually returned, the first return of the game, as number 22 Tyrell Agent, or Chris Oates, returns for the kick. Either way, there's a flag.
I'm not actually sure what the flag is on the field. I'm assuming it may be some type of holding play there.
Yeah, it was a little tough to tell also who was return man for the Wildcat. Normally it is Zach Johnson or Travis Tisdale, but with COVID and the fact the school didn't release the official names of players not playing, it gets a little tough sometimes to juggle it. But either way, it's a holding on against Kentucky, which will back them up.
As we see this quick play here from the previous score, you just see this Gators offense has been doing so well just throwing the football, and Kentucky struggled this entire season with pass defense. So I think that's the biggest thing that Florida can do to continue gaining a lead.
Wilson in the I formation. Sun starting to peek out a little bit here at Ben Hill Griffin Stadium as Wilson hands off inside to number 10, Asim Rose Jr. Last time we saw him, he was clutching his right lower leg a bit, but now he is back in the game for a pickup of about 2.
Always good to see. As Kyle Trask most touchdowns in the first 8 games, he is second after B.J. Simons in 2003.
Yeah, 3 more touchdowns away from royalty in the FBS as Wildcats take the field once again, 3 receivers to the left, but Asim Rose on the left of Terry Wilson. Wilson barks out orders, moves Rose back to the right. No, back to the left now, dancing a little bit in the backfield as Wilson gets a little comfortable. Hands off to Rose, who gets swarmed down by Sean Davis and Zach Attack Carter to bring up a 3rd down.
Zach Carter, he's been doing so well for them, especially 2 weeks ago with a scoop and score against Arkansas, and here with a big tackle.
Kentucky never had a chance, and they have half their offensive line out allegedly per reports due to COVID. And this offensive line that's played fairly well all season. The team that runs the ball, so their sacks or tackle for losses are a bit inflated, but they have only allowed the 3rd fewest sacks in the SEC, which is a pretty solid number. With Wilson in the shotgun, 3rd and 9, 11-12 left in the 3rd quarter. Wilson backs up, dances along the end zone. He has a man in pursuit. Instead, Wilson runs out to the left side, calls for a blocker, and does all of that just to get tackled out for a gain of about 1 yard. He rotated around the left side, but Diabate came flying in like a heat-seeking missile to force Wilson out of bounds and force a 4th down.
And that's exactly what the Gators defense likes to see. You see Brenton Cox. He's the first man to the quarterback. Wilson obviously gets a few yards away from there, couldn't get the safety. But then you see Diabate right there and makes a big 4th and 3 and out for the Florida Gators.
Max Duffy on to punt. He's standing in the D in the Florida title in the end zone with Garris Toney back to return. Gators defense lining up, or special team, lining up sparingly in case of a fake. They're ready for it. Instead only sending 1 blitzer, but this time there's a flag. Jacob Copeland was there right in Duffy's face, but this one will get a restart. A delay of game penalty. Backing up Kentucky just a little bit more. Normally you see punters take delay of games or try and give them more space, more time to punt the ball, but in this case, it just looked to be like a miscommunication. I wouldn't imagine why Mark Stoops would want his team to be even deeper in the end zone, as they've already committed 5 penalties in this half, as opposed to none last half. But starting to see the sloppiness creep in a little bit for the 3 and 5 Wildcats. As Duffy gets the snap, jogs a couple steps right, and there's the punt. Amari Burney was in his face. He could have probably blocked, but instead sends a streaker down the near sideline and bounces out right around the Gators' 35-yard line, and that's where Kyle Trask and the offense will pick up here after this quick commercial break on the Gator Student Broadcast Network. Probably go back in like 30.
Yeah, probably less.
Shout out Los Angeles. 3, 2. Back on the Gator Student Broadcast Network. You see Mark Jones there in person with the stadium. We would have loved to have joined them here in the Gator Student Broadcast Network, but instead we're in the basement of Weimer Hall, right across from Ben Hill Griffin Stadium, where Kyle Trask is lined up in the shotgun with Damian Pierce on his right. Trayvon Grimes flanked out right with Kyle Pitts in line. As Trask backs up, he's got some time in the pocket. Looking deep left field. He's sky high to Jacob Copeland, who gets up and brings it down for a gain of a big chunk of yards to advance the chains. Copeland's first catch of the game.
Going from the 35-yard line all the way down to the Kentucky 25. That's a massive play for this Gators offense.
And Copeland, kind of like a wide receiver tight end hybrid coming to the Gators, leaped up, showing off his best Air Jordan impression as Air Jordan logos donning all the Gators gear to give the Gators a first down on the Wildcats' 24-yard line as Trask bounces out to the left side, pump fakes downfield. Instead gives it to Pierce, who makes a nice shifty move on the defender. He loves what he sees. It wasn't enough for the first down, but it could be nice for the highlight reel.
Absolutely highlight reel. He just broke some ankles right there. Looked like he was going right, fakes could go left, and got some extra yardage there.
I think Devontae Robbins' ankles are hanging off downfield after that nasty juke move, but either way, it's enough for the first down to bring the Gators to the Wildcats' 15-yard line. And Pierce, a nice little handoff inside. Looks to be a couple inches short. You might need to whip out the index card to determine if that was a first down or not. But the refs seem to be confident with their spot of a 3rd and 1 on the Kentucky 14. And that's exactly what they are going to do. They are going to measure the spot.
Bring out the chains.
Initially ruling it to be short. Would be 3rd and 1. But either way, as Dameon Pierce is just his 3rd handoff of the game, and the Gators have only ran the ball 7 times, as opposed to Kentucky, who's run the ball 5 times as much this game. It's really the tale of 2 different teams. Wow, that is really close. You might need to just put that with an index card there. They can't even tell by putting the chain up against the ball, and we can't even tell what the call is on the field just by watching it off a big TV screen. It appears that they will stick with the ruling on the field to bring it to 3rd down. Although the Gators, either way, they got to love what they're seeing after this second half performance so far.
Absolutely. Just throwing the ball, and they're getting so many yards through this. It's truly what they should have been doing all game.
Yeah, and they only had 32 rushing yards, opposed to 230 passing yards. Just seeing how Trask slowly starting to get in that rhythm. He only has 4 incompletions for 216 yards and 2 touchdowns. A fantastic showing for the Heisman favorite. And yes, I said favorite. Trask under center, motions Tony with his left leg, but he gets a man to jump. Couldn't move the chains. The flags come flying.
And it will be an offsides on number 50, McCall.
And right you are, the offside, giving the Gators a first down, although maybe they could have gotten it anyway. They've been superb on 3rd downs this season, converting nearly 77% of their 3rd downs. So this just gives them another extra yards and a renewed set of downs. And already the Gators, the penalty story is really starting to flip. You saw the Gators have 4 in the first half. Now that's the 6th one on the Wildcats.
This half.
Trask in the shotgun motions, Pierce behind him. Trask looks to Pierce on the right side. It's a nice little bubble. Pierce cuts to the sideline and bowls over one defender to get tackled around the 2-yard line.
Dameon Pierce getting a good amount of extra yards after the catch.
2nd and goal, 8.5 minutes and change until the end of the 3rd quarter. And Dameon Pierce, the Gators' leading rusher on the season, he entered the game with 3 rushing touchdowns and 345 rushing yards. Today only has 19 rushing yards, but making every single one of them count, especially on that play as Pierce is once again lined up next to Trask. Trask barking out orders. There's 2 players on the right side in line with Kyle Pitts and Kamari Gamble. And on the left side, there's Trayvon Grimes as Trask pump fakes to Dameon Pierce, who sprinted along left side, and Trask gets swarmed by a field of white. Gets tackled for the first sack of the game by the Wildcats.
Very well done by the Wildcats there. Just a huge mountain of players for the Wildcats to get to Kyle Trask and make it 3rd and long.
It was a low snap, and Trask tried to pump for Pierce. Honestly, he probably could have hit him there. Had some good blocking upfield. But either way, Trask held on to it a bit too long as multiple Wildcats were there for the stop. That backs up the Gators to about the 12-yard line. Still 3rd and goal. Up 11. 7:20 left in the 3rd quarter. Pierce hugging Trask's right side. They got trips upside left. They got Trayvon Grimes, Jacob Copeland, Kadarius Toney in that order. Kyle Pitts, the lone man on the right side, has got man coverage too. But not before a flag is thrown, and that's a delay of game on the Gators. My goodness.
Yeah, that you don't really see that often on this Gators offense. Dan Mullen yelling at Kyle Trask to speed it up there.
And just like that, back up another 5 yards. The official spot on the Kentucky 15. Pardon, I'll be closer to the 16, it appears. It's 3rd and goal, approaching 7 minutes. Pierce once again on the field, holding hands with Trask on the left side. Kyle Pitts once again the lone man on the right side. Could Trask find him for their 3rd touchdown of the game? Trask looks to the left, rolls to the left. He has some space, but his arm gets hit, and it's still caught by Dameon Pierce, but it's not going anywhere. In fact, he might have lost a couple yards depending on where the refs spot the ball. Either way, it will be 4th and goal for the Gators.
It's really tough to see when you get to the 10-yard line and then you go all the way back and just couldn't get anything going in this set of downs.
And that was Joshua Pascal, the defensive end, who got his hand on Trask's arm. Trask appeared to be looking to the right side. He might have actually been appearing to hit Damian Pierce, but either way, Pierce caught it, and it wasn't enough. He did get a hand on it. That was Pascal who got his hand in there as McPherson lines up for the 34-yard field goal attempt from the left hash. Jacob Finn, the holder. There's the hold, the snap, and the kick is right down the middle. McPherson, 10 for 11 on field goals this season. Perfect from inside the 40. The Gators extend their lead 24-10 here on the Gators Student Broadcast Network. Whoops. All right. Nice.
What was that?
And 24-10, 3 years older than Jack Linkhorst. How about that?
Where's Cal Trask? You ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
3, 2, 1.
Gators up 14 thanks to that Evan McPherson field goal. And just outside the stadium in the Heisman Plaza where Steve Spurrier, Danny Werfel, and Tim Tebow are, this is not Kyle Trask, but a Kyle Trask sign, obviously supporting his campaign for Heisman.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's been doing so well this season, and just coming out playing against Kentucky last season and getting that comeback win for the Gators and coming in this season, he's just been unbelievable so far.
As McPherson gets ready for the kickoff, sending it end over end to the return man, Zach Johnson, who fields it at the Kentucky 9-yard line with just under 6 minutes left until the first quarter.
Kyle Trask and Joe Burrow, after 7 games, first on the ESPN.com Heisman watch.
A lot of comparisons this year to Kyle Trask and Joe Burrow. And while Trask may not have Burrow's athleticism, mobility, his athleticism and mobility are still there. Like, it shouldn't be overlooked. It's not like he's a stiff pocket passer a la Matt Ryan or Jared Goff, or especially not Terry Wilson, who's in the shotgun and looks deep down the left side, but way overthrows his intended receiver, number 81, Isaiah Epps.
And that's why you usually see them run the ball on first down. They usually have that easy first 5 yards going on the run and then maybe do a short pass play, but not this drive.
Exactly, and that was only Wilson's 10th pass attempt of the game. Pascal Trask is 18 for 22 in the entire game, so it just goes to show how run-heavy the Wildcats are. As Wilson motions Justin Ali instead and pulls it back, sticking it in his basket, gets brought down around the SEC logo for a gain of nothing.
And Brenton Cox, he's always the first guy there to make a tackle, and just such a big portion of this defense coming from the Georgia transfer.
Definitely, and Cox has had a huge impact on the Gators. He leads the team in tackles for loss with 5.5. He leads the team in quarterback hurries with 11 on this season, and he did have a sack earlier on in the game. Cox has made a huge dent in any game that he's played, especially this one against Kentucky with Wilson, a rare time where he's the lone man in the backfield. He's got 3 receivers out left. Wilson has time in the pocket, throws over the middle, but it's intercepted by Muhammad Diabate. J.J. Watt-esque interception, leaping up at the line of scrimmage for the first interception of the game, giving the Gators the ball in their Wildcats territory.
Diabate has been the man of the match for this defense so far. Just some sacks, getting that interception, and now the Gators will be at the 10-yard line.
My goodness, out of nowhere, like a shark jumping out of water to snatch his prey. Diabate was right there. Wilson just didn't see him at all, and I don't really blame him. Diabate is 6'3". It's hard to miss. When he's disguised behind those tall, looming linemen, it can be tough to see some of those guys like that. And Diabate, his first career interception as a Gator, giving the Gators the ball at the Wildcats' 12-yard line, as a flag comes flying out before Trask and the offense can even get set up. Trask complaining about something to the refs.
Can't hear anything that's going on. It seems like nothing happened.
Yeah, it could just be a random flag getting thrown. The refs getting accustomed to it after the Wildcats' last couple possessions. Trask low man in the shotgun. He got Grimes and Pitts up top left. Keep an eye on those jump balls. Tony stationed out in the slot on the near side. Trask fakes the handoff inside, passes to Trayvon Grimes on a little step-back screen on the far side. Grimes catches it, moves upfield for just a gain of 2.
And gets it up to the 10-yard line. It's just getting closer and closer. Unlike last drive, let's see if they can actually get the 6 points this time.
J.J. Weaver bringing down Trayvon Grimes. And Weaver called out Kyle Pitts earlier in the week on Twitter, and here it is, Kyle Pitts with 2 touchdowns. And last I checked, J.J. Weaver has 1 tackle this game. So there's no reason for me pointing that out. It's Kyle Trask in the shotgun, has some time in the pocket, looks left, scrambles left. Is he going to take it? Yes, he does, and he gets immediately walloped by number 13. There he is, J.J. Weaver. I guess he might have heard what I was saying to force a 3rd down for the Gators offense.
And great thing by Kyle Trask, not being afraid to scramble there. He had no options, so he just went 3 yards and got, a 3rd and 5 just to get closer to the end zone.
As Weaver with his mic seemed to die a little bit. 3rd and 5 for the Gators. 24-10 still, approaching 3.5 minutes left. Trask again all alone in the backfield, doing his part to socially distance as Grimes and Pitts on the far side. Trask has some time, immediately throws left underneath the Kyle Pitts, and 3rd time's a charm. 3 for 3, the Kyle-to-Kyle connection today in the swamp as the Gators extend their lead to 30-10, pending the Evan McPherson extra point.
And you just, when you have no idea what's going to happen, just give the ball to Kyle Pitts. And there he goes with his 3rd touchdown.
Oh, and you got to love that little Q route around the left side. Basically what he did, he took 3 steps inside, planted his outside foot, pivots back to the quarterback, and scooted to the front pylon. And he was wide open for the easy touchdown. That's his 3rd touchdown, making Trask 1 touchdown away from tying Tim Tebow for the 4th most touchdowns by Gator quarterback in a single season, as McPherson splits the upright again for his 4th time today. As there you have it, the Gators up 21 just like that, in part to the Muhammad Diabate interception in Kentucky territory to give the Gators the lead here on the Gators Student Broadcast Network. That was hot. That was great. You love to see that. About time, honestly. I guess we're a third quarter team. Gonna mute.
Second half.
Be back from commercial. This commercial break is brought to you by Kai Lehman. Kai Lehman, the future of sports media. This commercial also brought to you by Melinda Linkhorst. Melinda Linkhorst, if you ever need to get a last-minute rapid COVID-19 test, contact Melinda Linkhorst. She will help you with all your COVID-19 testing needs as any mother would. It's going back in 10 seconds.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2.
Gators dropping 30 points and some change on the Wildcats here with 3:36 left until the final quarter. 31-10, all Gators this second half, and they might not reach 60 points, but last week it was the first time they had done it since 2008. So I don't expect them to do it again today, but when they did do it in 08, you know who they beat?
Who?
Kentucky, 63-5. And then keep in mind, the Wildcats, although ravaged by COVID-19 last week, they did lose 63-3 to Alabama last week. So there will be some comparisons between Alabama and Florida, arguably the two best teams in the SEC. Some view as two of the best 5 teams in the nation right now. But keep in mind, they're very different situations with how Florida played Kentucky this week and how Alabama played Kentucky last week. But hey, there's still a lot of times that we haven't even got to Tom Petty and the old boys of Florida yet. So there could be a lot more points scored in this game as Kentucky gets their another drive of the third quarter underway with a nice little kickoff here. As for the Aflac trivia question of the game, brought to us by this amazing ESPN live feed here at the J School, 7 of 14 SEC teams have Heisman winners. Which SEC team has the most Heisman winners? I would imagine it would be Bama.
I agree. I also believe it would be.
It's a pretty lame question if it's Bama. So if it's not Bama, I don't really know who else it would be. Florida, let's see, they have Spurrier, Werfel, and Tebow. Bama, we know already has 2 this decade as Kentucky gets ready for the next possession. Josh Ali, the man in motion, sends it left. Terry Wilson immediately looks right and off the hands and almost into the hands of Jaden Hill. Haven't said his name much today. It would have been nice if he caught that pick, but it was a couple bobbles, hit a few stray fingers, so he couldn't come up with it. And as for the answer to that Aflac trivia question, it's, oh, wow. How about this? It's Florida and Auburn. I would say if it's either going to be not Bama, like Florida or Auburn. Florida, obviously, Tebow, Werfel, and Spurrier. But then Auburn, Newton, Sullivan, and, of course, the man himself, Bo Jackson. As right back, cut back to the live feed again. Ali gets the motion this time. It's what exactly what happened last play. But this time it's a 9-yard pickup around the left side, getting decked by Trey Dean, the first ever Gator to don number 0, along with Jaquavian Frazier, so we really haven't seen anything of this season. So Trey Dean making his impact felt in the number 0 jersey, which was a new change they made this year.
Absolutely. And also the Heisman Award winners, 2 from Bama, 2 from Georgia, 2 from LSU, and 2 from Texas A&M, as Auburn have 3, and so do Florida.
Kyle Trask, by the way, walking on the sidelines. He is only 66 yards short of another 300-yard passing game. Will be the 16th time under Mullen. As Wilson in the shotgun again. He has a blocker in smoke, but instead he catches all the smoke by the Gators' defensive line to Darrell Slayton, swallowing him up with some help from James Houston.
And that's exactly what this Gator defense needs. They've just needed to have those special third down stops, and that's exactly what they got.
And it helps when you have 7 first downs in the entire quarter, whereas Kentucky, they have yet to convert in a first down this quarter, bringing up the 4th and 1, as once again, Max Duffy comes on the punt. That is not Max Duffy. There he is. It was a weird formation. Duffy was lined up in the front as if he was going to be the one taking a direct snap. Instead, he slowly takes his time right, and it's a high arcing backspin punt to the left side. Had a nice little curve on it before bouncing out around the 19-yard line is where the official spot is, closer to the 20, although there is a flag.
We'll be seeing what this flag is right here, but it seems like it will be on Florida, as it seems, pointing towards the left side.
You only make out so much when you have no audio and you're relying on someone else's broadcast to broadcast a game. But that's how it goes in COVID-19 world. In a normal year, we are in the press box with some other guys. We get the free food. We get the press passes. It's not the case right now. Would you look at that? An illegal motion on Yusuf Corker for Kentucky, which just pushes the Gators more and more down the field. And man, when you really talk about how this game has gone, the last time we saw both Kyles, connect on every single play was every single touchdown, was earlier in the season. And this is a connection that's pretty hard to stop.
It's really it's nearly impossible to stop, Zach. I mean, you just see Kyle Trask and Kyle Pitts. They just keep on going forward, and just the stats keep on piling up, and it's just so hard to contain this team.
Definitely is, and that's what happens when you get a guy like Kyle Pitts, who has 4 receptions for 77 yards and 3 touchdowns. He is not on the field in this play as Trask drops back in the pocket, feels some pressure, throws it deep down the sideline, but just to the grass. He was eyeing number 3, Xavier Henderson. Yeah, say it with me. This kid has got quite a lot of people excited in Gainesville.
Yeah, it's really exciting, obviously having such a big help on the defense with C.J. Henderson when he was in Florida, now the number 8 draft pick for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Then we just want to see the same thing happen with this kid right here.
Henderson on the field again in the bottom stack ahead of Tony. Trask instead hands off inside to right, who bounces to the left, hits a scrum. He loses the football. It's on the field, and Kentucky recovers. Number 44, Jamin Davis, hasn't said his name much at all today. There is a flag, and of course they will review to see if it was a fumble.
It did seem like it was a fumble for the Gators, but I wonder what's going to happen with this flag.
Definitely a crushing blow for the Gators, hoping to keep working toward that 50 burger. Kadarius Toney not happy about something on the field, unclear about what he is. But man, how about Jamin Davis? He missed last week, the leading tackler for Kentucky, and he was born in Honolulu, but he went to high school in Georgia. And you'll see he's wearing number 44, and that's to honor his grandmother who passed away when she was 44. So a nice touch there by the Wildcats leading tackler on the season, and now he's got his 2nd fumble recovery of the season as well.
Dan Mullen definitely not happy about that right there. You're just trying to rile up the score, and with that obviously makes it a lot harder.
It was a personal foul on the Gators, giving the Wildcats the ball back. Yeah, that was on Tony. I'm just not happy about. Unclear exactly what it was. Maybe we'll get a little more clear indication here. As All right. It looks like that after the play, Kyle Trask was immediately shoved by Kelvin Joseph. Kind of reminds you of what happened in the Missouri game. You remember that when he got hit and that started the scrum? So, never that we'll always condone violence here on the Gator Student Broadcast Network, but I was still unclear about what Kadarius Toney did and whether it was reactive to that uncalled for shove by Joseph on Trask.
I mean, that last time against Missouri, that was definitely a big thing that would caused a lot of havoc.
Definitely, as Wilson motions Ali, who sends it right back to the slot, as Rose on the right side of Wilson. Wilson has some time in the pocket, standing still, throws it over the middle to Ali, who gets brought down by Houston, sailing out of nowhere to bring him down. Past the line of scrimmage, forward progress, could give him a couple yards, though.
And Houston talking a little smack to him right after that tackle as well.
As it should be. This is a rivalry that spans back to 1917. And obviously everyone knows about the 31-year streak, but keep in mind the Gators really have been dominating this so-called rivalry. They've played 37 times since 1917. The Wildcats have won just 4 games. As it's 2nd and 7 with a minute till the final quarter, Wilson claps in the shotgun, Rose on the left to the left of him. Rose bounces inside, finds a hole, but gets tackled short of the first down marker. Either way, a pickup of about 6.
And Eli Rose, after that injury, a lot of people were scared. They were like, I don't know if he's going to be able to come back. But coming back, and he's contributing already for this Kentucky offense.
Rose 3rd and 1. He's got 54 rushing yards on the day, a game high. And Rose, Smoke, and Wilson each have more rushing yards than Damian Pierce, who's the leading rusher of the Gators with 19. And even Josh Ali has 15 rushing yards. And speaking of Ali, he's lined up wide left for the Wildcats. There's Wilson in the shotgun, Rose right behind him as always, just a little to the right. 6-man on the line for the Wildcats. Wilson hands off inside. Wilson pulls it back as if he was going to run it, but he ends up handing it off to Rose, who gets stopped for a loss by the riled up Gators defense. Man, they're excited about that one.
And there goes the 3rd quarter, and that's just a massive way to end that quarter here.
Huge as the Gators up 21 still at Ben Hill Griffin Stadium. You're listening to the Gators Student Broadcast Network. Back live on the Gators Student Broadcast Network, the Florida Gators ranked number 6 in the AP Top 25 poll, up by 21 against the Kentucky Wildcats at the start of the fourth quarter. It is 4th and 4 on the UF 30 with the Wildcats coming back slowly, but either way, this has been all the Gators' second half.
Absolutely. You know, they've just been dominating both sides of the field, both sides of the ball today. Even defensively, which you don't really see a lot from this Gators defense. Todd Grantham and his defense has struggled a lot this season. And I assume after that rambling from Dan Mullen to Todd Grantham definitely made a change.
Yeah, and the Gators defense seem to be playing a lot better now. You know, Kentucky scored all 10 of their points in the first half. Either way, as the Kentucky defense hops back on, with the Gators offense, trying to get some more points.
It's actually still the
Kentucky offense
on 4th down.
So like that, just like I said. Wilson in the shotgun arose along the right side. Kentucky looking to the sideline. They got 3 receivers, including Josh Ali, who's in the wide position on the left side, alongside Keaton Upshaw. And a man we haven't seen too much of, Akeem Hayes. Wilson in the shotgun with Bates is hand on the right side. Wilson with the Cox in his face. He throws it to Rose around the left side, but Marco Wilson comes sailing inside, which sends a ripple effect along the sideline. But luckily, no bleachers were harmed in the making of that play. Either way, that's a turnover on down in favor of the Gators.
And Brenton Cox, you see right there, he almost stuffed Wilson there, but was able to make the pass. And Marco Wilson with a good tackle to close the turnover.
Yeah, Wilson was backpedaling, but he got it before he could get hit by Cox, getting the ball off to Rose in the left flat. Either way, that gives the ball back to Kyle Trask and the offense. You have to wonder, it's only 3 touchdowns, albeit, but how much longer Kyle still have left in this game?
I really think that Kyle Trask wants to go for that mark, the 36 touchdowns mark, to get to Tebow and also an extra level of play.
As Dameon Pierce breaks away, he's got some speed along the left side. A huge run by Dameon Pierce all the way down. He flipped the field to the Wildcats' 35-yard line.
Yeah, he just hands off the ball and stops for a second as he tried going right, turned, and then just switches to the left and was able to get about a 30-yard run, maybe even more.
That's the longest run of the day by either team, and that puts Pierce up to 57 rushing yards, just one shy of Akeem Rose for Kentucky, who has the game high right now. Either way, it's a 1st and 10 on the Kentucky 34. Trask sends Keon Zipperer in motion, lines up behind the right tackle. Trask hands inside to Pierce. Pierce one more time follows Zipperer along the left side. Zipperer did a nice little chasing block back around the side. But either way, it's a gain of about 4 for the Gators.
Well, this is just something you haven't really seen from this Gators offense today. You know, they've struggled on the running game especially, and they've been able to get, you know, a 38-yard run this drive and then an extra 4 yards. You know, that's a good stuff. That's a good sequence for them.
Brought down by DeAndre Square, his 2nd tackle of the game. The 2nd and 6, Trask hands off to Pierce inside. It was a counter as he gets brought down on the C in the mini SEC logo on the near hash. Still short of the 1st down to bring up 3rd down. And kind of revisiting, we got the college football playoff obviously coming up. The Gators ranked 6th, which is nice. That loss earlier in the season to Texas A&M really hurt them, although some may say that was a pretty all right loss, considering that they only lost by the end of a field goal. They still do have a chance, but they really need to win the SEC championship game and, of course, win out as Trask hands off inside. But it doesn't matter because Malik Davis swarmed by Quinton Bohanna and Phil Hoskins.
Yeah, I really don't see any other way that the Gators can make it to the college football playoff without that SEC championship win. And it's going to be very tough against a team. So far, it will be Alabama.
Definitely, and it always has really been. Everyone's saying, we want Bama. We want Bama. Well, you got to win your rest of your games first. And although it's not too shabby of a contest, you got LSU and then SEC championship game, and, of course, Tennessee in between that. Either way, Evan McPherson lining up for the kick. This would be 45 yards for the 4th and 3. Could be a fake, but either way, McPherson to hold the snap, and this kick sails wide right, and McPherson is still not good for 40-yard lines. I'm a little speechless, honestly, because as good as he is at kicking field goals this season, and he was 10 for 11 up for that, the one kick he missed was a 43-yarder against Georgia. This one was a 45-yarder, so that 40 to 49-yard mark line really hasn't been treating him well.
Yeah, it hasn't been treating him well, and especially I feel like now, like the wind, especially in Gainesville at the moment, it's getting cloudy. The colder weather, the wind is starting to like move a little bit more. That definitely caused a problem.
It could be, normally we'd be able to tell if there's wind, but instead we're stuck in this basement and we're stuck tossing to another commercial break. This one sponsored by Los Angeles. I don't know. It's a great city full of great people, but either way, it's not here. But we're in Gainesville for the Gators Student Broadcast Network. Back on the Gators Student Broadcast Network. Gators D all lined up. They got 5-man on the line. Wilson pitches inside to a motioning James Ali. Almost forgot his name for a second. Josh Ali. Geez, we're just going to scrap that entire play. I don't like how the Wildcats wish they could have scrapped that play. It was about like 15 total yards, but really they only gained about 1 as it brings up a 2nd and 9.
Yeah, nothing much really there. They've made that play a few times already. So this game, and I feel like the Gators are already used to and kind of have been able to slow them down.
And one player we haven't heard about a lot today is Trayvon Grimes. Only 2 targets for 11 yards. He caught both of them as he sits on the sideline watching Terry Wilson scramble to the left, and in his face was number 81, Dante Lang. Haven't talked about him much today, but he was there getting a hand in the face of Wilson to force a 3rd and 9.
You really haven't seen the Gators defense play this well since about the Georgia game, I'd say. They've done really well, at least in the second half, to create, opportunities to like make stops and just not give them a lot of yards happening.
And as you see Trayvon Grimes and Jacob Copeland sitting on the sideline together. Jacob Copeland also only 1 target. It was 1 for 42 yards, which is nice, but now they get to watch now they get to watch their Gator defense as Terry Wilson once again in the shotgun. He was always in the shotgun, folks. We're just going to keep running with that. As Bates just outside the right tackle spot. Might have been quick movement on the offensive line. Refs don't miss it. Wilson slings it over the middle and instead into the outstretched hands of Sean Davis. That's the wrong man in the wrong shade of blue as he gets the second interception of the game, brought down about 3 yards to the left of the Gator jaw at midfield to flip the ball to the Gators.
And, just he kind of overthrew the ball a little bit and just gave Sean Davis an easy opportunity to make that play.
And to see if the Gators defense or Gators offense can capitalize on a big play by the Gators defense, stick around. We'll be right back here on the Gators Student Broadcast Network.
That was quick.
That was quick. Yeah, that was fun. Nice.
Easy 3 and out.
Who's on here right now? I'm assuming
Detroit parted ways with Matt Patricia.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Wow. Matt Patricia got fired. Oh, my gosh. Are you kidding me? That's what we all been saying. Jesus.
And Bob Quinn, the GM.
Wow. Oh, my God. We interrupt this broadcast to bring you breaking news. The Detroit Lions said goodbye to everyone. Matt Patricia is just out of here.
I mean, I don't really expect anything less. He was doing pretty poorly. Next time, Michael Kidd-Gilchrist.
That was huge. Now I have this reaction on YouTube. That was great.
You're welcome.
Thanks. Let's bring it back.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Another interception, this time by Sean Davis. Gives the Gators a little bit closer to securing another win. It'll be the 33rd win of the past 34 games against Kentucky. They're up 31-10 with just over 11 minutes left in the game. And a lot of these Kentucky players, they're playing in familiar territory as Trask hands off to Damian Pierce, who gets brought down along the fourth tooth of the bottom jaw from the left of the Gatorhead. And as I was saying, these Kentucky players, right? You got guys playing in familiar territory, not just because the last time the Wildcats played in the Swamp, they beat the Gators. 18 current players on the Wildcats roster are from the state of Florida.
Wow.
Do you know how many players are from Kentucky on the Gators roster?
None that I know of.
Well, yeah, none. Exactly, none. Gators are like, nah, you guys can keep all your Kentuckians, or whatever they're called, really. Trask instead takes his first quarterback draw of the game, and he plows through for a first down a couple yards outside the left hash to move the chains.
And you definitely don't see a lot of that happening for Kyle Trask. So to see that happen is pretty interesting to see.
And Dan Mullen is one win away from the best start by any head coach in Florida Gators history. Him, Spurrier, and Meyer both started 27-6 in their first 33 games. A win today would give Mullen his 34th or his 28th win. something that Meyer and Spurrier could not do in their first 34 games. Trask backs up, got some time in the pocket, got some space, finds Kyle Pitts along the sidelines, and of course he gets up there to snag it.
Seems like his DB got a little bit hurt there from Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts smiling at him, which I don't know what happened there.
Yeah, it appears so. Pitts went up and got over J.J. Weaver. J.J. Weaver didn't appear to step a little slowly on his, right there, on his right leg. When he plants it, it seemed to come up a little limp. And remember, this was a player who was criticized throughout the week because J.J. Weaver was tweeting at Kyle Pitts, "Oh, we can cover you," things like that. I don't have the full tweet up on me, and it's probably not appropriate to read it on air. But either way, Weaver was chirping at Kyle Pitts throughout the week. I know the freshman is down. You hate to see it along the Gator sideline. Wincing at the his right lower leg. And as we figure out what's wrong with him, we will send to another commercial break here on the Gator Student Broadcast Network. Nine, 8,
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Wildcats down 21 in the swamp to the Gators. It's 31-10 after J.J. Weaver got hurt on that Kyle Pitts pass that put the Gators in the red zone yet again. And already the Wildcats have really struggled against, top 10 ranked teams. Their last win over a top 10 team was versus number 10 South Carolina in 2010. But their last road win over a top 10 team, 1977 against number 4 Penn State, who are having their own issues of their own, yes, but why don't we take it a step further? The last time Kentucky beat a top 10 ranked SEC team on the road was, this?
Florida, right? No.
I'll take either the team or the date.
Tennessee, I believe.
No, because it happened in 1964. It was against number 1 Ole Miss. The point being, it has been decades since Kentucky has had a road win over a top 10 team. And that does not appear to be the case today, barring a cataclysmic breakdown of Florida's offense or even their defense. But that doesn't seem to be the case. The Gators are knocking on the door yet again. We already have 3 touchdowns for both Kyles. Obviously Kyle Pitts getting one from the other Kyle. As Trask sends a man in motion. That was Rick Wells going to the slot with Pierce hugging Trask's left side in the backfield. Trask fakes handoff inside, pump fakes along the left. He looks to the right. He has some space, dancing in the pocket, and set throws to Pierce. The sideline bounces off his hands before Pierce gets sailed down to the sidelines. Vito Tisdale was there with a good defensive play.
Just a little bit too high for Damian Pierce there and just couldn't get the ball going.
And even then, it was like Pierce, if he had caught that, he probably just would have been shoved out of bounds anyway. So just get a 2nd and 10 call as his first snaps of the game. There he is, your boy, Emory Jones. Yes, say it with me. Emory Jones, we've seen him in more run-based packages throughout the season. He does have 2 passing touchdowns. He does have 1 rushing touchdown. So this could be probably just more of an option, as that's exactly what it is. Jones takes a draw up through the center. He barely gets a yard as he split the right guard and Stone Forsythe on the right side, but instead brings up a 3rd down. But hey, Gators still in the red zone.
I haven't really seen much from Emory Jones. Most of his in his career, he barely has more pass yards than he has rushing yards, with 481 passing yards, 420 rushing yards. And I'd like to see a little bit more throwing from or passing from Emory Jones, but we haven't really seen that much.
You might see it next year as Trask with a diamond set on the left side. That's trips. You got leading the pack on top of the triangle is Kadarius Toney with Rick Wells on the inside, and I believe Justin Shorter on the outside. There's Trask in the shotgun yet again. He fakes the handoff. No, hands off to Malik Davis, who shakes off one defender before getting brought down. There's Phil Hoskins there for the initial stop on Davis to bring up another fourth down.
And it seems like it's just going to be a field goal for the Gators here, a possible 3 points.
Yeah, it could be, and why not? You're up by 3 scores anyway. No need to pat on the stats, even though Trask is 1 touchdown away from tying Tim Tebow for 4th most touchdowns in a single season by a Gator quarterback. And yep, there it is, bringing on the special teams unit. Jacob Finn, the holder, Evan McPherson trying for a 40-yard attempt. He is 0 for 2 on field goals that are between 40 and 49 yards on the season. This would be his first one. McPherson lines up on the left side of the goalpost, and this one is good. His first field goal in between 40 and 49 yards of the season to give the Gators a 24-point lead with 8:18 left in the game.
And pretty easy there. I feel like the Gators probably should have gotten more yards there. That Emory Jones run, that only 1 yard run, that obviously makes it a little bit more difficult for the Gators to make an extra play, but only able to get a field goal this time.
And with the Wildcats about to get the ball back on offense, they have just over 8 minutes left to make a comeback here on the Gators Student Broadcast Network. And mute for a commercial. What's up, Josh? How you been? The Evan McPherson field goal giving the Gators a 24-point lead with 8:18 left in the Swamp. Kentucky getting ready to take the kickoff. There's Zach Johnson back to return the kick. He already has one kick return for 19 yards earlier in the game, but other than that, the Wildcats really haven't been able to do too much the second half, as were the Commodores last week. Do you sense like some sort of trend or like reason why that's happening?
Just mostly this Gator defense definitely, getting better during the second half of most of their games. Especially right now, getting 2 interceptions in the second half. That's such a big and important part of this defense.
Definitely. This is a defense that does lead the SEC with 3 sacks per game and is tied for second in the league conference with 6.4 tackles for loss in the game. And they've also held opponents to 23% on third down conversions. And Kentucky today has only converted on 2 third downs. So it's been kind of fitting and really falling in line with everything we've seen before. There's a new quarterback in for Kentucky, Joey Gatewood, the former transfer from Auburn. His name might sound familiar, and well, that's why. Is instead his first play of the day is a handoff to a number 20 Cavassier Smoke.
Well, after seeing, Bo Nix being the main man at Auburn, I understand why he would be transferring, and he's a pretty solid pickup also for Kentucky.
Yeah, it really adds a different dimension. You've got that dual threat guy in Wilson. Gatewood's not as much of a dual threat, though he can rip off plays with his legs. Either way, it's Gatewood in the backfield this time for the Wildcats, joined by Smoke on his left side. Gatewood hands off inside to Smoke. Smoke makes one defender miss. Jervon Dexter couldn't bring him down. Instead, gets him on the second effort, but not until Smoke gets the first down. 2nd and 4 as Smoke takes his time to get up for a second. It looked like he was injured, but he was just appeared to be playing dead or something.
And this is their first down of the second half here.
How about that? They hadn't gotten a single one up until now with just under 7.5 left in the entire game. They had 13 in the first half. Really a tale of 2 halves for the Kentucky Wildcats as they have a first and 10 on their own 36-yard line. Gatewood with a man in motion. That's Josh Ali as Gatewood rolls left instead. Plants downfield. He has a man coming up as Jervon Dexter chasing him down. Said Gatewood scrambles for a pickup along the right. A funky little play. All just so Gatewood could run for about 6 yards.
Yeah, there was a few Gators nearly there to pick him up, but he does a little spin move and was able to move forward to get 5 yards.
Dante Lang, Jervon Dexter, both there too. Also, Chris Bogle was there. Almost got a finger on Gatewood. 5 yards till the yellow marker. Joey Gatewood with ball on the Kentucky's 41-yard line, approaching midfield. Gatewood motions for Juton McClain. His first handoff of the game. It takes some patience, splits up the middle, and there he gets his first down before he is brought down by number 40, Josiah Pierre. And now we're seeing these two teams turn the players who really don't get too much playing time, and that's especially impactful for Kentucky because they have 16 players who did not suit up today due to COVID-19, so they're really dipping deep into their bag.
It would have been really interesting seeing these starting O-linemen that were missing to see how different it would be in this game.
Definitely, as Gatewood lines up in the I formation, has not Pierre, but instead McClain behind him. A little tough to see the numbers there watching ESPN feed as Bates motions to the left. Gatewood fakes a handoff inside with his eyes downfield the entire time, throws to the left sideline, and instead it is caught by number 16 for the Gators, Trevez Johnson. Wow, with the intended receiver for Kentucky looked to be Michael Drennan II, but Johnson said, you know what, I'll take that instead. A nice over-the-shoulder catch. Almost didn't even realize it was coming to him.
Yeah, it didn't seem. It kind of just stripped the ball away from the wide receiver right there, and what a beautiful interception.
And he is ecstatic. His first interception as a Gator. Man, his parents must be loving that.
Absolutely.
And still 34-10, but this one could be almost all but over. And, this would give the Gators their 12th straight home victory, marking their longest streak since a 13-game run, which spanned the final 4 games of 08 and some games in 09 and 010. So they're 2 home games away from their longest home streak in quite some time, as Emory Jones is back in the game, this time looking to be the permanent quarterback as Kyle Trask's day appears to be done, and why wouldn't it be? With 24-point lead, just over 5.5 minutes left in the game, Malik Davis gets the ball carry as he gets brought down for a gain of about 6.
pretty good start for this drive, having Emory Jones. That's just an extra dual. He's a dual mobile quarterback and just gives a much tougher option for this Kentucky defense and wonder what's going to happen.
And I got a diamond set on the right once again. It's a little tough to make out the numbers here with the ESPN feed, but one of the men is Emory Jones, who takes the draw instead, bruises and trucks away for a first down pickup of about 6.
And gets it right to the Gator head.
Meanwhile, in the world of college football, you got a tight game between Oklahoma State and Texas Tech. Texas Tech quarterback by none other than Henry Columbi, whose mother was my language arts teacher in 7th grade. So nice connection there. We had a good exchange on Twitter earlier in the year. It's really nice to see either the direction that Texas Tech is trending in, although they did have to face a powerhouse against Oklahoma State today. As for the Gators, Emory Jones once again in the shotgun with Davis on his left side. Kamari Gamble lined up on the left, and instead it's Jones passing to Malik Davis, who stumbles and bumbles along the left sideline. Not enough for the first down, but good for about 9 yards.
Just like to see Emory Jones, throwing the football a little bit more. I want to see a long ball coming out from him, and we'll see what happens for the rest of these 4.5 minutes.
And Malik Davis, he has no touchdowns on the season, but he does have 287 receiving yards coming into the game, 4th most on the team, and already today he only has 16. It's Kyle Trask watching it on the sidelines. Emory Jones steps in, who hands it off to Malik Davis yet again, who powers his way along the left side for a gain of 7 and the first down.
This is definitely something that the Gators offense likes to see. They just like to see the running backs being able to get a few extra yards more. Just don't get, 2 or 3 yards, see those 6 to 7 and just make it easier for Kyle Trask and the rest of the offense to get the first down.
And at this point, the clock will just continue winding, at least if Dan Mullen and his coaching staff have it their way, with Emory Jones once again in the shotgun. Malik Davis lined up right next to him, dubbed receivers to the right. One was Justin Shorter. Instead, Jones opts to hand off underneath to Davis. Davis bounces inside after taking one cut to the left and gets tackled for a gain of about 3. Was immediately swarmed by the blue and white.
Yeah, the blue and white, they've just been there all game, basically. And, as we see here, this trick play in the beginning of the game for the Gators, the fake punt, and they've just been able to do everything tonight.
The special teams having a huge impact on this game. We saw the Kadarius Toney trick play touchdown. We saw the Damian Pierce fake punt conversion, and then we saw Jacob Finn pin Kentucky deep in the 1. It's been a fantastic day for that unit as the offensive unit still is 2nd and 6. Emory Jones' first pass of the half slings it over the middle to Rick Wells, who is cutting across and gets brought down around the left hash mark for a gain of about 19.
And very well done by Emory Jones, really slick throw there and right to Wells for the first down.
As well as his 3rd catch of the game, the wide receiver tight end hybrid coming into the game with only 11 catches on the season. Doesn't use too much, but when you've got a team that loves to spread the ball as much as the Gators do, everyone seems to get involved. Remember, they lead the FBS in players who have at least 10 catches on the season. There's Jones once again. This time it's Iverson Clements next to him. Sends a man in motion. That's number 88, Kamari Gamble. Jones looks out wide to Gamble. Instead, he finds a man underneath. It's Justin Shorter, who gets tackled for a gain of about 2 on the screen.
And once again, just those easy, quick passes on the first down just to get some extra yardage to keep it going for them.
Definitely is a 2nd and 7 clock winding down. Mullen content with just playing this one out. They're not going to take any knees, at least not on this play, as the team lines up for what should be a normal play. Jones in the shotgun, Clement on his right. Haven't seen too much of Clement. There's Wells in the slot, and Kamari Gamble motioning from the right tackle spot to the left tackle spot as Clement gets the handoff and immediately stopped in his tracks by a swarm of Wildcats. That's Tisdale and Hoskins. Hoskins, the 3rd tackle for loss of the game. He now leads the Wildcats in tackles for losses of the season.
That's definitely what you see when you see these Gators offensive linemen starting to spread out, especially when the starters start to come out and then the bench players, the second strings come inside. It's just a lot easier for the Kentucky Wildcats to make a big play.
And it's also a good opportunity for new faces to come in, just like Lorenzo Lingard, the transfer from Miami, his first snap of the game. He's on the left side of Emory Jones. Emory Jones immediately throws to the left side, and would you look at that? It's Justin Shorter with the catch. The 6'5" receiver snags it out of midair. Thank God he isn't any shorter because that might have sailed through his hands.
It was a bit short, but yeah, it would have been if he was a bit shorter, it definitely would have slipped through his hands a little bit. But as the Gators are at the 2-yard line, it seems like it'll be an extra 6 for them unless they take a knee right here.
The Penn State transfer with 3 receptions and 21 yards, and the Gators look like they're going to line up for a play as Jones barks out some orders to his team. He's got Clement on the left side of him, hugging him tightly. Keon Zipper this time in the game, motioning from the left to the right side along the line. 9 seconds of the play clock. Jones hands inside to Clement. Clement dances inside, reaches, but just short before he gets brought down as the clock winds down to 0. The Gators 34, Kentucky 10. Gators now 7-1 of the season with the Wildcats winning 3 and losing twice as much on the season.
Yeah, it's been a rough season for the Kentucky Wildcats. They've usually been able to compete a lot more, but with the year of 2020, who knows what happens? And they've been doing pretty well for the past 3 to 4 games, but this time it just wasn't able to get enough.
And at the end of the day, that's really all you can ask for the Gators team. A win is a win. Was it pretty? No. Was it at times frustrating? Mostly in the first half? Yes. But they got that win. And for the first time in Gators history, head coach is now 28-6 in the first 34 games. Spurrier couldn't do it. Meyer couldn't do it. Mullen, he could do it. And the 6th-ranked Gators march on facing a tough opponent next week.
Yeah, definitely a tough opponent next week. The Gators go with Tennessee next week. It's going to be a pretty solid matchup, but I don't see the Gators losing that game at all either.
Definitely not. But hey, listen, you played 2 ways right this season. It seemed to be like today that was especially personified. You got a first half team in the Gators and the second half team in the Gators. Both 2 teams looking very, very different. So it's just a matter of which team shows up. Because honestly, the Gators can show up playing 80-85% of how they've been playing, and they can still beat the Volunteers. They've had their own issues. Jeremy Pruitt is on the hot seat, even as the weather's dropping down into the low 20s and 30s, especially here in Gainesville, which will get very nice. So it's just about cleaning up those mistakes, because really the next few games, you got Tennessee, you got LSU. They're prepping you for the big matchup. Everyone says you want Bama. Well, Gabe, you're getting Bama. Barring anything crazy, it's Florida, Bama, and the SEC championship game. So using these next 2 games going to be huge for prepping.
I'm really excited to see that game. Having the 2 Heisman candidates there, it's going to be really enjoyable just to watch that game. Matt Jones, Kyle Trask, Kyle Pitts, just the big names in college football. And to see those 2 guys go together, it's going to be a really good time.
Yeah, and a lot of people saying those could be the 2 Heisman front runners. I may be biased, but I think Kyle Trask has the upper leg on that. But either way, with that, Trask will get his time to show how worthy he is of Heisman. Remember, he is still 1 touchdown away from tying Tim Tebow for the most passing touchdowns in a single season right now. But not a bad day for the Heisman favorite and potential first-round pick in the 2021 NFL draft. Interesting game, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just excited to continue to see Kyle Trask improve and just see him, score more touchdowns, see what he can do to really rack up the stats for this Heisman season.
Definitely. Well, Gabe, it's always a pleasure. Looks like to be our last game called of the semester and maybe ever.
Yeah, it actually might be ever. I'm not going to be able to do it next semester, and I don't even know if I'll be able to do it in the fall either. So we'll definitely see, but it's always been a good run doing with you, my brother.
Yes, it's always great. For Gabe Sosa and for everyone else who tuned in today, Melinda Linkhorst, Sam Spiesman, Kai Lehman, Jacob Ruby, everyone in between. We had a record.
Even my buddy Samuel Crow right there. What's up, buddy?
Samuel Crow, heck yeah. Good to see you, man. Good to see you. That'll do it here for the Gator Student Broadcast Network. Until next season. I won't be back on football this year either. Thanks for watching. Love you, Mom.